Testing. Alright, microphone seems to be working. Alright. Hello, Wolfpack! We're back! And once again, we're doing a ranking on another tier list saga. This time, at the request of a friend, I'm checking out Zack Snyder's DC Extended Universe saga. Yeah, we're going to be doing a ranking on all the infamous Snyderverse movies from 2013 all the way to 2023, I believe. That was when the universe officially ended. Oh boy, the DC Snyderverse. Yeah, that's right, we're talking about it. We're gonna finally talk about this failed cinematic universe. Okay, so I will warn you all ahead of time, if you're a Snyderverse fan, I respect your opinion, but I do not like this universe. I am not a fan of the Snyderverse. There are some good entries here, but it is probably not the one Snyderverse fans are thinking of. The Snyderverse was supposed to compete with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was supposed to be DC heroes in their own cinematic universe, going on adventures, having Avengers-style crossovers, those big events that Marvel used to have, but even the MCU went downhill. Unfortunately for DC, it was terrible from the very start. Basically, Snyder tried to have his own vision of DC icons going on adventures and having their Avengers moments. And Zack Snyder has made good movies. He made 300 and Dawn of the Dead, two of my favorite movies of his. I did think Watchmen had its moments. Some people hate it, some people love it, but Watchmen helped him get his foot in the door, showing that Snyder could adapt superhero stories. And of course, he was given Man of Steel as his first movie, and it did make a lot of movie, but boy was it not a good sign of great things to come. Hey, people are showing up. Hey, Jon Snow, you made it. Shadowlink made it. Oh boy, the DC Snyderverse. Yes, we have all the Snyderverse entries, including Peacemaker, is on here. So it's all from 2013. I thought it came out earlier. Yeah, 2013 to 2023. The DC Extended Universe did not last as long because, of course, DC gave up and smashed that reset button. Now we have a whole new DC Cinematic Universe with James Gunn taking lead because his Peacemaker show and Suicide Squad movie did good, so now we're resetting the DC Cinematic Universe again, but personally, I think cinematic universes need to be retired and we should focus on standalone stories, or something simple like the DC animated universe, which was great because it was easy to get into and enjoy. I don't have a lot of nice things to say about most of these. Me neither. There are some good entries, but key word being some. There's a lot of crap and a lot of meh to get through. Hey Akira, glad you made it. Batman vs. Superman, dead last, do whatever with the others. By the way, Drew Actress was also an agent too and hell of a boss. Oh, good for them. Also, the Snyder Cut is just Warner Brothers' Michael Bay. Yeah, I did watch the Snyder Cut, and yeah, it did take me days to watch it. It was like a 5-hour movie, and honestly, it did not live up to the hype, but it was better than Justice League, that's for sure. Here's hoping this new DC universe will be better. I hope. It did start. Creature Commandos is technically the first entry, but Superman is allegedly getting another new movie this year. I believe in summertime, so we're still a ways away from that, but yeah, DC is starting all over because all DC knows how to do is hit the reset button. Hoping James Gunn's Superman does good, but I am a bit skeptical about it, namely because the Justice League is going to be in a Superman movie already. Hey, not feeling super great, so I'm going to just kind of lounge a bit before the stream tonight. Might pass out, but going to be listening regardless. It's Wolfen time. Hey, Emily, glad you made it. Yo, cat. Yeah, this stream kind of came as a surprise. I did take my notes on my news review, but I wanted to do something to pass the time in the meantime because it's going to take me a while to work on this big upcoming Wolf's Unknown project. Creature Commandos is DCU. It's the James Gunn DCU, not Zack Snyder DCU. Yeah, Creature Commandos was created by James Gunn. Creature Commandos does not count as the Snyderverse. Like, I do need to clarify that. This is Zack Snyder's DC universe, and it ended on Aquaman 2. Creature Commandos is a part of James Gunn's universe, and yes, it is very confusing because his Suicide Squad and Peacemaker are going to be canon to James Gunn's universe, but that's a whole nother mess, that someone else should clean up. But yeah, it's very weird. DC has a very weird multiverse track record, and very hard to explain, but no, Creature Commandos is not going to count as the Snyderverse. It is James Gunn's DC universe. I have this idea for DCEU, alternate universe, where the origin of certain heroes and villains are altered. Some villains even became heroes and vice versa. Mr. Sutton, or Miss Sutton, I believe that's Bruce Timm's Justice League Gods and Monsters. That was kind of awesome. Somebody requested us to review that. I am kind of on the fence about it, mostly because it might get blocked, but Gods and Monsters kind of did that exact idea. I mean, at least they're being true to the comics, constantly resetting, lol. Yeah, that's all DC knows how to do. Lobo, oh, you're talking about Jason Momoa would have been better as Lobo than Aquaman. Yeah, I do kind of agree. Aquaman kind of became Thor in this universe. I wouldn't call it must-see TV, but I enjoyed Creature Commandos for what it was. I haven't finished it. I started halfway through it, but James Gunn's writing gets kind of irritating after a while. He writes the same jokes he's done since Guardians of the Galaxy. Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and I believe Blue Beetle are best. Okay, Emily likes those. Blah, 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 Flashpoint. Hey, oh boy, oh. Hey, Monica the Savage Bear, glad you made it. It is a shame Dr. Medusa wasn't in Creature Commandos. They should have got Christina V to voice her. Well, James Gunn's hiring celebrity voice actors for his stuff because apparently he has this contract where whoever voices characters in the new DC cartoons moving forward will be playing the same DC icons in live action. That's probably going to be very hard considering he has like a 10-year plan, but I would much rather prefer something simple and easy to follow, but whatever. The voice actors and the live actors are going to be the exact same in Gunn's universe, so let's hope nothing bad befalls them like the MCU. But anyways, you know the drill. DC icons are the best. They're heroes who become godlike beings. They protect us, do heroics, and in Zack Snyder's universe face a lot of angsty drama. The DC extended universe has been all over the place. We've had serious movies, we had lighthearted comedic movies, we had 5-hour movies, we've had James Gunn basically starting his DCU in this exact same universe, and we've had Ezra the Chokeslam Miller doing Flashpoint, which pretty much kind of retconned all of this out of existence. Yeah, the Snyderverse is a complete mess, and I am not a fan of it, so we're gonna be seeing a lot of low movies here on the tier list. Okay, so I gotta go by the drill if you haven't seen a tier list ever. This is how it works. We're gonna be ranking them from best to worst. And yes, expect a lot on the worst side. So, top, the best, S tier. These are perfect, these are great, these are outstanding DC Universe classics, and some might actually make it up here. We'll see. Then we have A. These are good, not great. These are decent, they're watchable, they're dumb, mindless fun, they don't ruin DC, they actually did some good things for DC's icons, but far from a classic. Then we have B. These are okay, they're watchable, they're passable, they're whatever, they're average. Had a lot of good moments, but had an equal amount of bad moments and scratches, keeping it from the best. Then we have C. These are forgettable, they're lame, they're the weak movies. They're the ones you're gonna like forget about in like a week or so. Definitely a lot of mid movies are gonna be down here, and we will be seeing some. D. These are duds. These are plain bad. They're the weak movies people think about when they remember the Snyderverse. These are the lame duck movies. These are bad. Some people might like them, but I'm not one of them, and I would put them on a lame. Then we have F. Garbage. The worst. The worst DC movies ever, and complete and utter failures. And yes, you will be seeing quite a lot of them down here. Yeah, I like the universal term for Ezra being Ezra the Chokeslam Miller, lol. That's what I'm gonna call him forever. Can't lie, the Princess and the Bride and Creature Commandos are sexy. Oh, you forgot Nina, John Smith. Nina is hot. She's curiously attractive for a fish person. I like Creature Commandos. Dr. Phosphorus was a gang leader after killing Rupert Thorne. Yeah, a lot of people like Creature Commandos. I have not finished it. I've heard good things about it, but it's not canon to the Snyderverse, so sorry people, it's not going to be on this list. We have mostly the films Snyder has had his hands on, and entries that were under his umbrella, his universe, basically, and Creature Commandos is not a part of the Snyderverse, it is a part of the James Gunn universe. I'm probably gonna have to repeat that a lot. Momoa's playing Lobo in the Supergirl movie. Oh, good for him. Yeah, glad Jason Momoa is still getting work. He's awesome. Okay, did read that one. That's not what I said. You were talking about what was canon to the universe. Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, and I think James Gunn's going to confirm Blue Beetle as well. Yeah, James Gunn teased Blue Beetle might be a part of his universe, but I don't think it is because the movie was not a smash hit. It didn't make as much money, and corporate executives always see that as total failure. Let's be real. My DCEU Superman story has him growing up on Krypton, having a brotherly relationship with Zod. That, of course, goes south, and him even having a relationship with Ursa. Sounds like you wrote Spectacular Superman there, Ira. We don't talk about Ezra Miller, no. Well, unfortunately, we do have to talk about him in his one and only solo film, and unfortunately the annoying parts in Justice League. In my opinion, the best things are in order: Shazam, Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. Why not S rank for Superman tier, F rank to Snyder Bomb, aka the worst one? Well, because the Snyderverse is not special, so I'm barely gonna try and just have letter grades. Basic, easy to follow. All bad movies, God help us. You might be surprised, Monica, there's like one or two good ones in here. Okay, okay, I read that. Alright, so let's just begin this already. Let's start where it all began with Superman, the Man of Steel. The first new Superman movie we had since Superman Returns, and the first entry of the Snyderverse. Going into D. Yeah, it's bad, people. It is bad. I'm so sick of people on Twitter talking about as if this is one of the greatest masterpieces of superhero cinema. It's like, people just don't say it's a good Superman movie, that it's up there next to Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and frickin' Shawshank Redemption. Like, it is peak cinema. It's like, no, guys, you need to watch more movies. You need to go outside. This was lame. A boring, bleak, depressing angst fest where Superman basically is kind of sad and clinically depressed all movie. Superman is not like how he should be. He's basically a guy struggling to find his identity and become the beacon of light, beacon of hope. It's a Superman origin story. You know the drill. Krypton's blowing up. They send Superman onto Earth through a rocket ship. His scientist parents die. General Zod is the villain of this movie. I will find him! Yeah, Michael Shannon is so over-the-top hammy in this, it's kind of ridiculous. He could not outdo Terrence Stamp back in the friggin' 70s. Superman lands on Earth, and basically we get a kind of out-of-order storytelling where Superman's an adult, a kid, a teenager, trying to find himself and basically evolve into the Man of Steel for at least half of this 2.5-hour movie, and man, it is a slog. It is boring. Yes, the special effects look great. They still aged well. Some stuff like Superman hurling buildings and all the product placements has definitely aged, but it's boring, man. It is boring, and Superman's kind of depressing in this movie. I don't like this version of Superman. Yeah, first two Supermans are way better. Yeah, the 70s versions are better because guess what? Superman is actually fun and likes being the good guy. Here, he struggles trying to become the hero Earth needs. Superman's having an identity struggle, choosing between Earth and choosing between his Kryptonian heritage. Russell Crowe plays Jor-El in this movie, and my brother Wolf loves Russell Crowe, and he thought he was one of the highlights, but not enough to save this film. It is boring. Superman's basically trying to decide if he wants to be a hero, and we get some of the worst Superman scenes ever in this movie. Like, I remember the childhood, what was I supposed to do? Let all the other kids drown? Maybe. Yes, Pa Kent says maybe Superman should have let a bunch of innocent kids die drowning in a freak accident, and this has one of my most hated scenes where Pa Kent dies in a twister and tells Superman not to save him. There is so much time where they could have saved him without using his damn powers, but they don't, and Pa Kent's death is completely stupid in this. Kind of ironic compared to a 70s movie where he dies of basically like a stroke or a heart attack. It's supposed to be a symbolic gesture of how Superman can't save everyone with his powers, but here it's stupid because he had all the time in the world to save him without powers, and yeah, Pa Kent's death still makes me laugh to this very day because of how dumb it is. Worst Jonathan Kent ever. Yeah, you said it, Shadowlink. Bruh. Michael Shannon, I do remember this movie getting good reviews. Well, because it was better than Superman Returns, and Superman Returns was even more boring because there was no action scenes. Basically, Zod lands on Earth and he's going to terraform the Earth by using these giant Reaper ships to basically terraform us. It's kind of outlandish, especially for what's supposed to be a realistic Superman. Yeah, he's fighting alien invaders in a realistic DC universe, let that sink in. And it has the infamous scene where Superman snaps Zod's neck, and yeah, to this day, I'm still I feel conflicted about it, basically. I don't get it. He, kills Zod, and he had multiple ways of stopping him, too, without killing, but it's supposed to be Superman taking a life, and to this day, there is still fan debate over that scene. I think it's really dumb, and honestly, Superman kind of gets over it in a week later, so it had no dramatic effect either. I found a Man of Steel personally average. There is one thing I like about this movie, which is why it's not on F. I love the soundtrack. I love Superman's theme in this movie. Hans Zimmerman's score is easily the best part about this. Henry Cavill, not a bad choice to play Superman. He is much better in later movies, but here, they don't give him a whole lot to do. He's basically an angsty Jesus metaphor. The, I am Jesus. I am Jesus. Yeah, Nostalgia Critic was actually 100% on the money with that take. Basically, Superman is space Jesus. He's too good for this earth and dying for our sins, defending us all, even though human beings don't deserve it. And Clark, of course, ultimately decides to be Superman and protect people by destroying half the city, killing General Zod. Yeah, it's still a joke between us. Yeah, I am Jesus. You called it, Akira. We'll see. Excited Superman gets me Supergirl, but say what you want about the Flash movie. That version of Supergirl was a major crush for me. Oh, John Smith. Are you talking about the male Supergirl in the Flash movie? She was ugly. It's the actress is beautiful in real life. In the movie, they made her look like Superboy. That's my problem. She's not that attractive. It made me actually miss the 80s Supergirl from that terrible movie. God, I hated Man of Steel. So many things are wrong with it. Too much unnecessary subplots, terrible morals, especially from Jonathan Kent. Yeah, Pa Kent is the real villain in this movie. And it's just too dark, letting Superman let a lot of people die. Yeah, it's a very depressing movie. That's why Man of Steel does not win points for me. And number two, it's also boring because you can only handle so much Superman angst for so long. Not a good movie. Yeah, Emily, Creature Commandos is very good. Sorry, just catching up on comments. Worst Jonathan Kent ever. And a portal in the sky. Yeah, it's gonna come back in Justice League. And I think another movie, but Man of Steel, it was weak. It's a dud. It's a lame duck. It might be the worst Superman movie ever if you ignore Superman 3 and Quest for Peace. Yeah, those movies were bad too, but they were a funny bad. This is just boring bad. It's a lame movie. I did not like how Zack Snyder portrayed Superman, and unfortunately his vision did not get better for the rest of this universe. Man of Steel, it's a D. The best part is Hans Zimmerman's score. Everything else is a bore. Good thing I'm a Marvel fan. Portal in the sky. Well, the Avengers had a portal in the sky, and I'm certain Doomsday will too. Sorry, I got my 500 waters here. Anyways, Speaking of Doomsday, Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. And as you can see, we did not count the extended cut because they're both pretty much the same movie. The Ultimate Edition covers up all the plot holes, but it's still the same basic movie. And yep, going into F. Oh, holy film bombs, Batman. This is a lame one. I hated this movie the first time I saw it. Well, first off, they're trying to have an Avengers and Civil War movie in a movie where we're finally meeting this universe's Batman, played by Ben Affleck. And Wonder Woman's also in the movie, hanging out in the background until the final battle. Did not like it. I do not like Ben Affleck's Superman. Batman is kind of a hypocritical, self-righteous monster in this movie, and really had weak reasons to hate Superman. They do show Superman has a devastating effect on the world. Basically, they did kind of reference all the criticisms people had where he and Zod are destroying half the city, and he's doing a lot more damage than good because Batfleck loses like a Wayne Enterprises branch and innocent employees die here. Basically, Batman hates Superman because Superman is a loose cannon vigilante who doesn't play by the rules. And all I can think is, calling the kettle black here, Bruce. You're the exact same thing. It's like Batman hates Superman for being a rogue vigilante. Batman, a rogue vigilante, hates someone else being a rogue vigilante. This did not win me over to Ben Affleck's Batman at all. And unfortunately, Ben Affleck, a lot of people like him as Batman. I don't. I think he's okay, but he's never been in a good movie in this entire universe. F, yeah, Batman vs. Superman. Oh boy, another mess that the more I watch, the more problems I see. Yeah, I didn't like this one either. Oh no, not Batman vs. Superman. Also, Batman vs. Superman is just lame, like Doomsday. Looks like a Warcraft reject monster troll. Yeah, Doomsday did not look very good in this. I really wish they went with the crystal rock monster kind of look, but no, he looks like General Zod and Lex Luthor morphed together into a Hulk. Oh yeah, Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor. A casting so bad, people compared it to Vince Vaughn's Norman Bates. That's how bad Jesse Eisenberg is as Luthor. And the Snyderverse fans defend, well, actually he's Lex Luthor's son. He's the child of the Luthor we know and love, but that doesn't make sense when he's kind of the main Luthor of this universe, and two, he becomes bald by the end of the movie when he goes to prison. Jesse Eisenberg, not cool, not intimidating. I don't buy him as this genius mastermind like Lex Luthor should be, and his reasons for hating Superman are super weak. Catching up on comments because a lot of people have criticisms with this one. Where do I start? Well, both heroes are hypocritical about their ways of fighting and killing. The P-jar moment, Jesse Eisenberg is Luthor, rushing so many more unnecessary subplots. Yeah, this movie kind of had a huge pacing problem, namely they kept setting up future spin-offs and future storylines for the Snyderverse before even completing this movie's storyline. It's like, this should have been like the world's finest, the DCEU crossover. Batman and Superman are meeting each other for the first time and going on their first tag-along adventure and learning to understand each other and becoming friends. Here, they're basically hypocritical arch-enemies being used by a villain smarter than them, and setting up a whole bunch of spin-offs and sequels which never saw the light of day or ended up disappointing. I'm Makita's sister, and I say Batman vs. Superman, Battle of the Hypocrites. Yeah, awful. The serial based on this movie was pretty bad. Yeah. Ben Affleck's performance was serial. Affleck and Cavill, bad, the same problem. They both could have been great, but they were fucked by bad writing. Yeah, fully. I know who you are, Bat-Kid Shinobi. You're Akira's sister. You don't have to repeat yourself. To continue the Save Martha moment, which was dumb way for them to stop fighting. And of course, Doomsday. So much bad. Yeah, Doomsday is the ultimate final fight in this. Lex Luthor bribes a senator with candy? He like gives him like a candy and it bribes him. The extended cut revealed that no, he actually paid him, which yeah, I kind of figured. Yeah, he paid him off and got access to the Kryptonian ship, which I guess Superman never took back with him, and he used like a processing chamber to create Doomsday, made of his and Zod and I guess the Hulk's DNA, where Doomsday becomes the final fight and the Trinity put aside their differences to fight it. Yeah, how could I forget the infamous "Save Martha"? Why did you say that name? Yeah, Superman and Batman both have a mother with the same name, and it makes Batman realize that Superman is a person just like us. Yeah, let me repeat that. Batman had to be taught to care about people and realize Superman is a person. Yeah, Batman basically had to learn like a Teletubbies lesson to get along with Superman, realizing that they're not so different. You know, this really made me want to rewatch the DCEU, like their World's Finest crossover. That movie is the good Batman vs. Superman movie, because basically Batman and Superman are both heroes, but they have a problem with the other's methods of being a hero. Batman thinks Superman is too soft on criminals, while Superman thinks Batman is too harsh on criminals. And basically they both gain a respect for one another as they work together against Lex Luthor and the Joker teaming up to fight them. They do realize that the other's methods do have some credit to them, do help, do work in the end, and they both respect each other because they're both great heroes. Here, they're just both self-righteous hypocrites trying to prove who's better. Oh, and by the way, Batman wins the fight. There, I saved you 3 hours of your lifetime. Batman wins by using kryptonite, but he stops himself from killing the Man of Steel because he cried for his mommy. Not to mention that how they made Doomsday. Seriously, Lex Luthor's DNA with Zod's. That's how they made Nuclear Man. Oh my fucking G. They took inspiration from Superman 4. Yeah, Nostalgia Critic and Angry Joe also made fun of that. Jesse Eisenberg feels like better as Blue in Rio and than Lex Luthor. Okay. Yeah, he was in Rio as the main character. Nicholas Hoult is a good actor, but while he'll definitely be better than Eisenberg, I'm not sure I'll be able to buy him as Luthor. Yeah, Nicholas Hoult probably would have been better as, like, Nightwing. That's what I'm thinking. I'm sure he might be a bit too old now, but he should have played basically an old-fashioned hero. Him playing Luthor, a bit of a question mark, but he'll be better than Eisenberg. Hey there, just some random guy who comments. I'm sure there's a lot of low tiers here, definitely. Yeah, the Jolly Rancher. Oh god, the Jolly Rancher moment was dumb too. Yeah, he stuffs like a Jolly Rancher in this senator guy, and I presume he actually did give him a paycheck to bribe him, but yeah, really stupid moments. Lex Luthor pisses in a jar and leaves it for like a bomb at the Capitol building, and Superman does not do anything to clear his name. He looks more guilty in this and completely falls for Lex Luthor's mechanizations. The Jolly Rancher, like, why candy, not money? Wouldn't it make sense if Batman told this to Superman instead? It won't make it good, but would have made it better. Oh yeah, that was definitely the better Batman and Superman movie. Yeah, World's Finest. Watch that over Batman vs. Superman, because this is a god-awful attempt to outdo it. Batman vs. Superman feels like an expired half cotton candy and chocolate cake. Not sure where you're going with that, but yeah, it's definitely bad. This pissed me off because while I'm a Marvel guy world-wise, as far as my personal favorite superhero, it's always been Batman. Yeah, Ben Affleck's Batman really sucks. He's all over the place in this universe, and they keep shifting his persona. It's very clear Zack Snyder based him off of Frank Miller's Crazy Steve Batman. To his credit, Zack Snyder read The Dark Knight Returns, and that's clearly who Ben Affleck's Batman is supposed to be. He's supposed to be like the old, angry, bitter Bruce Wayne, the one that's finally cut loose and acting more like a soldier than a superhero. The Frank Miller Batman, you know, Batman Year One and The Dark Knight Returns, the Batman driving in an armored car, who's harsh on criminals, and most infamously, yes, this Batman kills people, which was a big reason why I hated the movie, because Batman is a full-blown psychopathic murderer in this, yet he's shaming Superman who's trying to save lives for his heroics. Yeah, it did not make me warm up to him. Will there be any A or S rankings on this or no? There will be A and S tier, but it's gonna take us a bit to get there. Feel like Superman vs. Goku 2, the worst death battle, Batman vs. Superman. DCEU tried to be like the MCU, but failed. Yeah, we've been mentioning that. This movie wanted to be like the Civil War for DC. However, they only had one movie before then, and this is the first time we're meeting Batman, Lex Luthor, and Wonder Woman, who are all key players in the DC universe, but no, it's all crammed. Oh yeah, speaking of which, Superman dies. Yeah, movie 2, Superman, the first hero, died in his second movie. This is like if the MCU killed off Iron Man in Iron Man 2. It's like the first guy starting this universe is out the door already, and there's this very weird scene where, surprise, he's not dead. We see the dust is like levitating on his coffin, and it's never brought up ever again. Instead, they revive him with a mother box, and Superman was not returning from the grave, which makes me ask why the hell was the dust levitating then if that wasn't the case? But yeah, really stupid. Like Civil War is better than this? Well, that's obvious, Akira. Civil War came after at least 10 films. This is movie 2, where we barely have a Justice League yet. Which is sad, because DC has good characters. DC has great characters. And I highly recommend watching Paul Dini and Bruce Timm's animated universe over this crap. Say, we got twin movies here, Batman vs. Superman and Civil War. Yeah, these did come out the same year, because DC is desperate to catch up with Marvel. However, they gave up on their cinematic universe early. Like, Ben Affleck should have been Flashpoint Batman. He should have been. He's in Flashpoint for like 5 minutes, and he's gone and replaced by old Michael Keaton. But yeah, Ben Affleck could have been a good Batman. I am not a fan of Batfleck. He did not even make an honorable mention on my top 10 best Batmen because the Snyderverse sucks and did not use him well. He read it because even old Batman didn't use guns in The Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, he used beanbags. Also, I heard that Henry Cavill was asked to shave his chest, but refused because he said that Superman had chest hair in the Death of Superman comic. Well, Henry Cavill is a fan, but I don't really see a point in having chest hair or not. Guns are the weapon of cowards, and this Batman's shooting like it's Grand Theft Auto. Not the exact quote. Who do you think would have made a better Lex Luthor? Easily Bryan Cranston. Walter White should have been Lex Luthor in this universe. I keep making a joke. He said, no, I said get Eisenberg as Luthor. No, get Heisenberg as Lex Luthor, not Eisenberg. Yeah, Walter White should have been Lex Luthor at one point, but now Bryan Cranston might be a bit too old. I can see him voicing Lex Luthor and stuff, and he should have been live-action Luthor, but they completely missed that. Oh, by the way, Batgirl is also not on here because it was never released. Not even leaked online, so sorry. Like Night Owl and Majestia Miraculous is a better Batman-Superman clone than DCEU Batman-Superman. Bro, you could make so many comparisons. Anything is better than this. Way too soon for Superman to die. I mean, yeah, we know he'll come back, but that will only make his death in a future movie if that was planned just meaningless. Yeah, comic book characters dying and coming back to life has always been a problem, and the Snyderverse completely overdoses on that. Well, yeah, the lead up to Civil War actually made sense. Yeah, no duh, it made sense. They had like 10 movies prior. This had one. We had one with Superman, of Henry Cavill's Superman, and he's kind of acting like he's already Superman by movie 2 before he dies, and this is the first time we're meeting this universe's Batman, and yeah, Ben Affleck should really have had his own solo Batman movie, but no, DC are idiots, and they gave that to Robert Pattinson's Batman instead. So yeah, probably never gonna see Ben Affleck as Batman ever again unless he's roped into some multiverse crap. Goku vs. Superman 2 was awesome. Well, Death Battle's awesome in general. Maybe it's because people want to forget about the Killing Joke. Maybe that's why we don't see Batgirl yet. We're not going to see Batgirl ever in this universe. Her movie was completely scrapped and Daddy Zaslav deleted it entirely. Too bad. I was really looking forward to seeing Rick O'Connell as Firefly. Brendan Fraser, that's it. Yeah, Brendan Fraser was going to be Firefly. The photos did not look good, but it would have been interesting to see. Fake out deaths are also a problem, especially when it's between sequels or episodes like the infamous dumpster incident in The Walking Dead. Yeah, that was awful. Like it's a shame Martian Manhunter's left out. Well, John Jones will appear in the Snyder Cut, but that's also gonna go nowhere. He looks more like Thomas Wayne than Bruce. Yeah, Ben Affleck was kind of old. I guess he was supposed to be the Dark Knight Returns Bruce again. They modeled him after that Batman. This was a more experienced Batman. We do see he had a Robin who died, was murdered by the Joker. Spoilers, we never get to hear this story because the Snyderverse is dead. But yeah, Batman vs. Superman, it's awful. It's awful. Stick with the animated world's finest movie. That is the good Batman vs. Superman because Zack Snyder's version is total trash. Speaking of which, we gotta carry on this list with the first Suicide Squad, which, believe it or not, worse than Batman vs. Superman. Yeah, I hated this movie, and this is where I completely gave up on the Snyderverse as a whole. The Suicide Squad finally get their own movie. Jared Leto as the Joker was actually hyped up. Margot Robbie debuted as the first live-action Harley Quinn, discounting the Birds of Prey show, which nobody remembers. And we finally got to see a Suicide Squad movie, which was worse than the animated one. Suicide Squad is another failure of a dumb movie, the first one anyway. Yeah, basically, the Snyderverse tried to make the Suicide Squad the Guardians of the Galaxy. They tried to make this ragtag bunch of misfits who are villains become like these mean-spirited but likable anti-heroes like James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy. It is desperately trying to be like the Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, basically dark humor, raunchy heroes, a lot of dark scenes, but played to like a more dark comedy kind of angle. Basically a dumb, fun DC adventure where the villains become the good guys and gain some morals and likability as the movie goes on, and it's a mess. You can really tell this movie suffered a lot of reshoots. There's some scenes that go nowhere. The first half hour of this movie is setting up the Suicide Squad. We meet all the characters, all 15 of them, and yeah, that is a huge problem. There are too many characters in this movie. There's Deadshot, there's Harley Quinn, there's Amanda Waller, there's Rick Flag, there's Katana, she's got my back, there's El Diablo, there's the Enchantress, there's Killer Croc. Yeah, my brother Wolf's favorite Batman villain, Killer Croc, is in this movie. There's Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang, who sadly doesn't die in this, and there's the Indian guy who can climb ropes, who is an expendable idiot who just dies. And they're fighting the Enchantress, a magical supervillain who we're meeting for the first time, and of course has an overly complex backstory. Yeah, it's a real mess. The Nostalgia Critic did a very good clipless review on this, and he was pretty much right. This movie's all over the place, it's bloated, and worst of all, it is not funny. I did not laugh once at this, except at the so bad it's good moments. Like, what are we? Some kind of Suicide Squad? That totally wasn't forced, Will Smith. Suicide Squad, the first example of a movie I kinda like, but everyone else hates. Oh, you like this one, Ira? Well, I'm sorry, I hate it because it's not funny and it's kind of a mess. Jared Leto's Joker is easily the worst Joker we've ever had. This guy might be worse, but Joaquin Phoenix is now up there too because Joker 2 is also garbage. But yeah, I still stand by it. Jared Leto is definitely one of the top 5 worst Jokers ever. Jared Leto is trying so hard to be a scary killer clown, but I cannot get past his ghetto gangster clown getup. He looks ridiculous with the tattoos that say damage. He has a bat with a knife sticking through it on his arm. He has the screwed up golden grill in his mouth. Like, yeah, Joker has a gangsta grill in this. His henchman actually looked more cooler than him, and Jared Leto is so ridiculous and unintimidating and not funny. I'm not gonna kill ya, I'm just gonna hurt ya really bad. Yep, awful Joker, and This might depress a lot of people, but I do not like Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I found her annoying. It's like, yeah, Margot Robbie's hot, and that's pretty much it. Paul Dini apparently liked Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. She's trying to be funny. They do get some stuff right about the character, but I've never been a fan of Harley Quinn in general, so of course I found her the most annoying character in the movie, next to Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang. Suicide Squad is another failure of a dumb movie, the first one anyway. Shouldn't have been Bizarro, not Doomsday. That would have made more sense, Batkid, but no, they wanted to cram a big-name DC icon. James Gunn should bring Static, aka the underrated DC character. Yeah, he should. I'm not sure if he will, though. I mean, he's gonna bring the Authority before Wonder Woman, so that pretty much tells you where James Gunn's priorities lie. I remember that El Diablo, a villain that feel treated badly. El Diablo is one of the only good characters in this because he actually undergoes a redemption arc. El Diablo has the fire powers, and basically he had this badass kaiju form the whole time, but he was keeping it in because he needed to control his anger or something. He accidentally killed his family and has, of course, heard about it, and basically the Suicide Squad sort of become his new family, who he fights to save and perform a good deed in this world, which, yeah, was actually pretty well done. The Enchantress, lame villain. She is not intimidating. She has a lot of bad CG, and the weird CGI they use makes her look like she's dancing, kind of ridiculous. Not very threatening. Yeah, she's hot, but that's kind of the only reason why people defend her. She's not a very intriguing character. Should have fought Amora, the Enchantress. Also, don't you hate it when a sequel or remake just adds "the" in the title, nothing else? A lot of examples of that. Yeah, the second Suicide Squad movie just adds the "the." We'll talk about that one, but it is a lot better than this one. This movie, way bloated, super messy, not funny, and too many characters. There were like way too many characters. At least half the squad should have been out of this movie. My brother Wolf, I like to make fun of how Killer Croc, his favorite villain, was ruined by this movie. Not me, shorty. I'm beautiful. Yeah, Croc. Yeah, sure you are. At least he gave us Margot Robbie as Harley. Oh, sorry, John Smith, but I hate Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I don't like Harley Quinn in general, so nothing against Robbie, but not a big fan. Like, Will Smith as Deadshot is lame. Like, I confuse Deadshot is American or African American. Yeah, they did race shift Will Smith as Deadshot. I wasn't against it, but it felt like a complete waste because Deadshot doesn't feel like himself. He just feels like another Will Smith action role. Yeah, Will Smith fighting Batman, and it's lame. Speaking of which, Ben Affleck cameos in this movie, beating up Will Smith in front of his daughter. I guess that's payback for when he'll slap Chris Rock. But yeah, Ben Affleck Batman is kind of set up like he's gonna be the Nick Fury of this saga, but it doesn't work. How to stop the next Superman or big threat? With a crazy clown, a crocodile man, a shooter guy, a sword-wielding ninja, and most importantly of all, a boomerang guy. Genius! So a lame and edgy version of the Legion of Doom. Yeah, the Suicide Squad were supposed to be more like the Guardians of the Galaxy. Basically a bunch of misfits who come together and become family, but it does not work because 1, there's too many characters, and 2, they do not have any character development. The only one who changes is El Diablo. Everyone else is just kind of the same character all throughout. I guess because they were going to get a whole bunch of spin-off movies, which never happened except for Margot Robbie's. I did not like any character, basically, in this, and it's just an overall mess. Yeah, I fully agree. Jared Leto's Joker was the worst, and did not get people hyped to see Jared Leto and Batfleck fighting in a movie. The only thing I like in Suicide Squad was Killer Croc's design, or probably because Killer Croc is one of my favorites. Yeah, Wolf loves Killer Croc too. Croc looked fine, but he didn't do much. That's the problem. A lot of these characters don't do much. I like Katana. I thought she was hot and cool. Would have liked to see her have a movie of her own, but no, she's here as a background character on the side, and Harley Quinn's the one who uses the Katana blade sword to kill the Enchantress, which, yeah, really lame. It should have been Katana. Also, Karen Fukaro was also Kimiko. Okay, whatever. What's your opinion on the 1989 Joker? Here's Joker. Oh, just some random guy who comments, I got news for you. Jack Nicholson Joker made it on my top 10 favorite Jokers. And I won't spoil where he is, but he is very high up. Yeah, watch my top 10 best Jokers video. I list all my favorite Jokers on there. And surprise, Jared Leto did not make the list. Believe it or not, this includes Lights Out. That's right, Shazam takes place because the director did both movies. The elevator moment was a guilty pleasure scene, the one with Harley Quinn. Oh yeah, she's stuck in the elevator fighting Power Ranger putties. Yeah, the monsters all look like crap for some reason, and I do love how all the fans point out they look like the Power Ranger putties. Yeah, Harley Quinn's in the elevator, she fights them, and she's able to beat them because, no duh, she's a badass, and everyone's surprised for some reason that someone on the fighting Suicide Squad can fight. Which, yeah, doesn't make sense when you think about it. You're not a fan of Harley Quinn, the character in general? No, I am not, Ira. I am kind of mixed on Harley Quinn. I do like Arlene Sorkin as Harley Quinn. She is funny, at least, but never been one of my favorite characters. I love Telltale Harley Quinn. That Harley Quinn, easily my favorite. She might be my number one because they did something new and unique with the character instead of just having Tara Strong voice her for the 1000th time. But yeah, never been a huge fan of Harley Quinn. I like her in some stuff, but I'm usually annoyed by her in a lot of stuff, particularly if it's Tara Strong playing her, where she uses her annoying voice. Well, the chart says, yeah, thank you, John Smith. Fun fact, El Diablo actor Jay Hernandez also played Bonnie's dad in Toy Story 4. Oh, at least he's moving up. El Diablo, I lost one family member, I'm not gonna lose another. Yeah, easily the only well-developed character in the movie. Also, the Enchantress is DC version actress, played Cara Delevingne in The Mermaid in Pan. Oh, you watched Pan, Akira? Oh, I feel sorry for you. Now, this is a story all about my life got twist turned upside down, and I'd like to take a minute just to sit right there. I'll tell you how I joined a group called the Suicide Squad. The one wasted thing was developing friendship between Harley and Katana. Yeah, that went nowhere, especially because Katana doesn't even show up in Birds of Prey. They kind of forget her and moved on. Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang, he was awful, man. Jared Leto did not make the list, not surprised. Yeah, of course he didn't. Hell, I put Cesar Romero on the list before Jared Leto. That says it all. Wasn't big on Nicholson's Joker at first, but he kind of grew on me when I rewatched Batman 89 in prep time for The Flash. Jack Nicholson's Joker is epic. Loved him. Never mess with another man's rhubarb. This town needs an enema. Loved him. He was accurate to the comics, and he was the inspiration for Batman the Animated Series' Joker, so he won high points from me. Looks like Rita sent the putties to the wrong location. Yep, she did. I like the Suicide Squad better in Batman Assault on Arkham. Also, I ship King Shark with Killer Frost in that movie. Yeah, you want a good Suicide Squad movie? Watch Batman Assault on Arkham, which came out like a year or two before this one, and it is a good Suicide Squad movie. It is miles better than this crap, and best of all, it doesn't drag on too long and focuses on the good characters. Yeah, watch Batman Assault on Arkham. This Suicide Squad is an assault on good taste. He watched the Nostalgia Critic review. We had only watched the trailer before. At least Karen Fukara got the boys, but of course she gets overshadowed in hotness by Starlight. Yeah, I heard Robin Williams is almost the Joker. I heard Robin Williams was almost the Mad Hatter in the Burton Schumacher Batman era. Would have loved to see Robin Williams as Jervis Tetch. That would have been awesome. But if he was the Joker, he dodged a bullet if it was in this mess. Okay, oh, Killer Croc was heavy duty in G.I. Joe. Okay, no wonder I liked him. I haven't completed the Suicide Squad game, but so far I think it's fine, though most people don't. Well, have you gotten to the part where they kill off the Arkhamverse Kevin Conroy Batman? That definitely pissed a lot of people off. And spoilers, Ira, the final boss is a copy and paste of the Flash boss fight, so they were also cheap in making that game. Yeah, this this movie sucked. It sucked as bad as the Suicide Squad video game. Do not watch it. Watch Batman Assault on Arkham instead. It is the better Suicide Squad movie, and I hope they never release the Air cut. Alright, so what came next? Finally, a good movie. Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Going on A. Yep, this was actually the first good Snyderverse movie. The origin and first adventure of the DCEU's Wonder Woman, played by the ever-so-sexy Gal Gadot, who is hotter than Rachel Zegler. Yeah, I actually really like this movie. It is technically kind of a remake of the animated Wonder Woman movie. Anyone remember the 2D one where she fought Alfred Molina's Ares? That one was a good movie, and it's basically kind of an expansion of that. Chris Pine is Steve Trevor, Professor Lupin is Ares, and they're fighting evil Nazis. Professor Poison is kind of the fake-out villain in this. I thought it was really good. Don't even get me started on Kill the Justice League. I feel that, Shadow Link. Yeah, I'll agree, it is bad. I don't have anything good to say about that game, and there's a whole can of worms to open there, but yeah, it's as bad as the movie is. A new tier list. Oh, I'm so there, my friend. Thanks, Christopher. Glad you made it. We're not very far. We're on the 4th entry, Wonder Woman, which was actually good. No spoilers. Not spoiling too much, Ira, but yeah, Batman's death in that game was the worst part. Thank goodness Kevin Conroy came back for Crisis on Infinite Earths, which gave him a more dignified send-off than the video game did. It's sad that the animated versions are better than the live actions most of the time. I said most of the time, not all the time. Yeah, Batman 89 is definitely a better movie than Mask of the Phantasm. I know, controversial opinion, but I thought Tim Burton's Batman was better than the Mask of the Phantasm. Mostly because it did have an unfair edge of a huge budget and a lot more to do with Batman and the Joker. Hallelujah! Good Snyderverse movie, finally. Wonder Woman is a pretty good film. Some flaws, but it's still worth seeing. I prefer this movie for her over the upcoming Snow White remake. Bro, I prefer my next dentist visit over the upcoming Snow White remake. The only good Wonder Woman movie of this universe. Yeah, unfortunately, the sequel is gonna build you up for letdown, but first movie, pretty good. Chris Pine, yeah, he's in it. I prefer the darker, grittier version of Tim Burton's Batman. Yeah, I like Batman 89. I do not like Batman Returns. It's not the worst thing ever. I have more mixed feelings on it. There's some good stuff, but I think Batman Returns is overrated. But I actually love Batman Forever. I think this one's underrated. Batman Forever, really fun. I know it's stupid, but it really kicks ass. It's cool. It's got an old-fashioned cinema ride kind of feel to it. Love that. And we all agree Batman and Robin sucked. I'm happy Zatanna, Captain Atom, and Green Arrow, Firestorm, because I'm scared how they would have been ruined on this. Yeah, you scared how they would have been ruined in the Snyderverse. Hey, what's up? Hey, Light Jones. It was Batman and Robin was the shitty one. Batman and Robin sucks. That one is the worst Batman movie by far. I'm sure it will be outclassed by Batman and Harley Quinn or The Killing Joke, but yeah, to this day, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze is still cringe. Do you think Batman Returns is too dark? McDonald's thought it was. Honestly, I felt the opposite. I thought Batman Returns was too goofy. I thought all the dark moments were ruined by the lighthearted moments. Penguin rides a rubber duck in his underwear in that movie, and people tell me it's the darkest Batman film. No, not at all. I thought Batman Forever at least knew what it was, and it knew its audience well. It was still lighthearted and goofy, but it kept the tone consistent. Batman Returns kept going back and forth between suicidal depression and Batman and Robin levels of kid comedy. Just the pussy I've been looking for. Yeah. And Christopher Walken's talking to a monkey. Yeah. That's definitely dark and gritty. Yeah, Batman and Robin was the shitty one. I'm taking the Snow White remake like all other live-action remakes with a grain of salt. I'm not even gonna watch it. I have no interest in. Rachel Zegler turned me off of seeing it. I thought Batman Returns is fun. Did you see Channel Awesome's fanscription of it? I saw their fanscription for Batman and Robin because I was more curious to hear how they would fix the worst movie. Gal Gadot is the evil queen in the worst Snow White movie. Like, why can't Gal Gadot be Snow White? Well, she might be a bit too old to play a little princess, because Snow White's supposed to be 14. Even though Rachel Zegler's clearly not 14 either, but whatever. I'm rooting for the evil queen to win in that movie. But yeah, Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, kick-ass. She is cool, she's likable, she's charming. Basically a fish out of water kind of story. If you don't know the Wonder Woman story, it's basically this. Steve Trevor is a soldier who, fighting in World War II, World War I for this movie, he crash lands on Themyscira, an island populated by Amazons. A bunch of tribal women who are warriors, basically Greek kind of warriors. They believe in the Greek gods. However, they separated themselves from our world, our modern day, and World War I is unfortunately interfering with their lives, where Wonder Woman escorts Steve Trevor back to the mainland and helps him complete his mission to end the Great War. However, Wonder Woman ends up getting roped into this war and wants to help people, both woman and man. And she finds out that Ares is behind this war, basically building up his power, and she's trying to basically defeat evil Germans / Nazis. It's kind of DC's Captain America movie. Basically old-fashioned superheroes punching out evil Germans, fighting in wars, learning about how serious war is, and an ideal hero holding on to their ideals in the darkest moment of humanity's era. I thought Batman... Okay, read that one. If they wanted to keep the same cast... Legasp! You don't like a movie with Catwoman in it? Lol, I had to. Well, I don't like The Dark Knight Rises either. I hated Anne Hathaway's Catwoman. So yeah, I do have some standards. Maybe I'll do a Catwoman ranking one of these days, because everyone knows my fondness for Selina, but... yeah, I don't like Batman Returns. Michelle Pfeiffer, hot, really cool Catwoman, but I did not like how she was written as a crazy bitch who hates men. Basically, a very weird and trippy Catwoman. And I really did not like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman because she was just too unsympathetic to like. Don't forget Pee-wee was Penguin's father. Yeah, in Batman Returns and in Gotham. He got to do a lot more in Gotham as Penguin's dad. Really liked Pee-wee Herman. Wish he lasted longer. But yeah, he was pretty funny. But yeah, well, Linda Carter is still my favorite live-action Wonder Woman. Gal Gadot was still pretty great. Too bad the writing in the sequel ruined her. Yeah, Wonder Woman 1984, not as hot as this movie. Batman 89 at least always stayed continuously dark. Yeah, I fully agree. Well, except for the Prince soundtracks, like the Joker playing The Party Man and all that stuff, and the Trust song at the parade. I love Prince, and those were definitely funny scenes, but Batman 89 did have its goofy moments from time to time, just more controlled than Batman Returns was. Because of Rachel Zegler, yeah, and the Mediterranean weather. If you ask me, I say Man of Steel was perfect. Well, I didn't ask you, man, like Jones. Like, come on, Superman literally killed his own kind to save the Earth. Actually, he trapped most of them in the Phantom Zone, and he killed General Zod when he could have easily incapacitated him in several ways and saved that family in several ways, but we needed a forced dramatic moment. The first movie is better than the sequel, Wonder Woman 84. Yeah, not gonna have nice things to say about her follow-up, but I really like the first movie. The first Wonder Woman is fine. If you don't know, Steve Trevor dies, pulling a Captain America and sacrificing himself by destroying Dr. Poison's evil gas bombs, blowing himself up. Wonder Woman learns about the hardships of war and loses somebody she loves. It's the first time Wonder Woman is experiencing death by basically being surrounded by soldiers, losing their lives, people dying, fighting in World War I, and Wonder Woman basically kind of grows up. She takes her role as a hero seriously, she kills the evil Nazis and defeats Dr. Poison, but the war hasn't stopped, and we find out Professor Lupin was Ares all along, and he turns into a CGI Decepticon. It did not look good. I will say that is one of the worst moments in the movie. The special effects for Ares did not look very good, and it didn't help that Professor Lupin, doesn't change forms. He just gets, like a Megatron armor on him, and has a giant CGI death battle with Wonder Woman, where Wonder Woman defeats him with the power of hope, and the God of War dies until they bring him back for a sequel, which will never happen. I watched that too. The fan subscription for Batman Robin is awesome. Making Chip, Max Shrek, and Blight is badass. Yeah. Yeah, Blight would have been cool to see in live action. Yeah, David Lewis, that was his name, thank you. What went wrong with Wonder Woman 84? Well, that's when the wokeness took over. The wokeness started entering the picture by Birds of Prey and kind of took over a couple of these movies and kind of destroyed them because everything woke turns to shit. Also, where's Wonder Woman 2, 1983? Yeah, where's 2 to 1983? Yeah, everyone made that joke because it's called 84 for short. I can't find them anywhere. How did I miss that many sequels? It's probably impressive if they are all numbered, and that's got to be a record for a series. Or, you know, the fact that they waited 84 movies to introduce the Cheetah, her arch nemesis. What are your thoughts on the Harley Quinn TV series? I liked the first 2 seasons, and I kinda dropped it in season 3 when Catwoman delivered that hypocritical Black Lives Matter speech. Nothing against Black Lives, but I do not find it very convincing or, you know, good when a character who's known for being white is talking about how being black is important. Yeah. Very hypocritical and sends kind of a mixed message since Catwoman is traditionally white, yet she's delivering a Black Lives Matter speech on a Harley Quinn show. But yeah, that kind of turned me off of it, and I have not caught up with the series ever since then. Elena Anaya, the actress of Hippolyta, was also in every Latino movies. Where are you going to understand Joker is a clown so he's allowed to make you laugh just like Pennywise? Bro, Jack Nicholson and Mark Hamill are my top 10 best Jokers. I love Telltale Joker, who was also funny, making you pinky promise. Jared Leto's Joker is not funny or scary or cool, which is why he's down low. More like depressing than perfect. Besides Professor Lupin, he was also in Dinotopia as Crab. Oh, I haven't watched Dinotopia in forever. He looks like a worse Dragonborn design like a Wonder Woman movie, not Skyrim. Look no further than the DCEU to realize that CGI somehow got worse than the early 2000s movies. Yeah, Professor Lupin's CGI for that boss fight did not look good. It is easily agreed to be the worst part of the movie because the effects look so fake. Not enough to destroy the movie, don't worry, I still like it. It's on A for sure, but that final boss fight, Zack Snyder's slow-mo and CGI really held it back from perfect. Another thing I will say is that Wonder Woman's theme is pretty awesome. Oh yeah, the Amazon theme. Yeah, really awesome. Loved hearing that in Batman vs. Superman. Really kick-ass. So, Wonder Woman saves the day, and she, I guess, goes undercover as a civilian on the mainland. She lets go of staying on Themyscira and tries to become a hero, where she allegedly doesn't come back in the Wonder Woman tiara until Batman vs. Superman. For those who don't know, Amazons are kind of immortal. They age slower than us. They have lived for like over 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 years. I mean, Wonder Woman's mom is still alive and still hot. I believe the princess from The Princess Bride is Wonder Woman's aunt. Really cool casting there. Did not like how DC made all the Amazons like Gal Gadot. They gave her an accent. Wonder Woman has a weird Israeli accent, and that became a canon trait for her forever. Even DC superhero girls did that, and I don't like that. They don't have to repeat it because it was in a good movie. We don't need to hear Wonder Woman with Gal Gadot's accent in everything. But DC's stupid and wants to remind you of its good movies. Keep politics out of movies, I agree. They don't have to, you can have politics in movies, but they shouldn't dominate the story. Also, was there a reason they changed it from the Second World War to the First? I believe it was because they didn't want a comparison to Captain America. People compared Wonder Woman to Captain America, the First Avenger, and to avoid looking like a ripoff where Steve Rogers is fighting Nazis in World War II, they had Wonder Woman fight Germans in World War I, the Great War instead. I believe it was just because they didn't want to, like, cause a lawsuit or something, and Marvel claimed they were stealing from them. Catwoman has been portrayed by Black in the past in animation. Yeah, what's her name? Eartha Kitt and Halle Berry. They were cool Catwoman. The problem was that she wasn't portrayed Black before. It's like, you have a character who is race meant to be a Black version of the Arkhamverse Catwoman delivering that speech in Harley Quinn. That was kind of where I drew the line. It made from those affected Wish perspective in 1984 to a horror movie. Lupin should have stayed in the wizarding world. Yeah, because then he would have still been alive. Hell, even Teen Titans Go made fun of Jared Leto's Joker. Yeah, they had Robin, the worst version of Robin in Teen Titans Go, dress up like Jared Leto, and even the other Titans mocked him for it. Cersei needed to be in the DCEU by James Gunn. Unfortunately, they didn't use her in the Snyderverse. Say, didn't James Gunn also work on the 2002 Scooby-Doo films? He worked on both of them. The first Scooby-Doo, the movie, and Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. He worked on those with Raja Gosnell, and those were easily some of his best work. Also, isn't Diana the Roman version of Artemis, goddess of the hunt? She should be, but they took creative liberties. One thing I can give DC is that they didn't try to make everything inspired by the DCEU like what happened on Marvel. After the MCU, everything was inspired or influenced by the MCU. Politics in movies should only affect the movie universe like the original trilogy of Star Wars. Yeah, I agree. Zack Snyder's Justice League is far, far much better than the 2017 one. Yeah, that one's creeping up. Creeping up on us. Whedon, you fool. Also, Eartha Kitt, was Keisha's grandma in Magic School Bus. She was also in The Emperor's New Groove as one of the funniest villains Disney ever made. What they do on Wonder Woman 2, we'll get to that later. Same thing with Game of Thrones, Bat-Kid. Yeah. The only thing I liked about Jared Leto's Joker is the theory that it connects to Fight Club. Yeah, that is a theory out there, but considering how different Jared Leto is in both those movies, I don't know. Yeah, you can't copyright a historical event. I agree it was stupid, but what are you gonna do? It's the Snyderverse. Pull the lever, Kronk. Light Jones, we don't talk about that. Isn't Cersei in Creature Commandos? Yes, she is, but Creature Commandos is not a part of the Snyderverse, it's a part of the Gunverse. Anyways, Wonder Woman, it's pretty awesome. I think it's a pretty fun movie. Easily one of the good, watchable Snyderverse movies, and I think Gal Gadot did Wonder Woman greatly. A shame we probably won't see her don the tiara again, but this was definitely a worthy entry which inspired hope. Unfortunately, that hope would be dashed by Joss Whedon's Justice League, and surprise, going on to F. Okay, so there is a tragic backstory behind this. Zack Snyder was trying to set up his Justice League and finally give them their Avengers moment. However, Zack Snyder had a family tragedy happen. His daughter committed suicide, so he had to leave filming to attend to that, and he deserved that. I'm not gonna make fun of him for leaving the film. Unfortunately, DC, in their selfish greed, decided they still wanted to go ahead with releasing the Justice League movie, so they hired Joss Whedon to direct this and film the rest of the movie and release it on schedule. Joss Whedon worked on the MCU. He was on board for phases 1 and 2. He did the good Avengers movies, the Iron Man movies, basically all the phase 1 and 2 films which everyone loved, so people were initially excited to see him take over. And boy howdy, did he completely fail. This movie is awful. This might be one of the worst DC movies ever. Not just in the Snyderverse, one of the worst Justice League entries of all time. Sigh, Justice League. Yeah, this is gonna go... Sorry, getting tongue-tied. Yeah, this is going back to crap with too many subplots, dumb moments, and a very pathetic villain. I'll stick with the animated 2000s Justice League series. Yeah, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, total classics. I still love those, and those were before my time. I remember catching them back on Toonami, but finally finished it, and yeah, it is awesome. The animated Justice League all the way, one of the best interpretations of the Justice League, while Zack Snyder's, or I should say Joss Whedon's Justice League, awful. awful, awful. They are not good interpretations of this character. We meet Ben Affleck's Batman is back, trying to basically form the Justice League. He recruits Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, Ray Fisher's Cyborg, who never got another movie, Jason Momoa's Aquaman is introduced here, and Ezra the Chokeslam Miller's Flash, who is an obnoxious, annoying comic relief who I wish would die. Yeah, they should have went with Grant Gustin, but yeah, what are you gonna do? Basically, Darkseid is invading the Earth. I say Darkseid, but it's really one of his minions, Steppenwolf, easily the most generic, boring, forgettable doomsday villain you'll ever see. Steppenwolf is actually one of Darkseid's elite minions, and he's sort of set up as like the Loki for the DC universe, a minion to a greater evil on the way. Darkseid is being set up, and we meet one of his minions, who the Justice League have to unite and defeat, basically. And yeah, this movie sucks. It's a mess. It's all over the place. There's too many characters, setting up more sequels and subplots and spin-offs, which half never happened, and also trying to revive Henry Cavill's Superman, because after being dead for at least 2 movies, we're already bringing him back. Also, you should do Bone Chillers, a Goosebumps clone, have Arthur as Principal Pussman, and the Devastator from the Transformers movie, and Destro in the G.I. Joe movie. Somebody recommended Bone Chillers. I have not seen it. Greedy business people always ruin everything. During the whole film reshoot, everyone didn't like it, not even the cast. Yeah, you can tell nobody liked this movie. Nobody was happy about this movie. DC was not happy about it. The actors were not happy about it. The writers were not happy about it. And even Josh Whedon has tried to distance himself from it because it is bad. Absolutely nobody liked this movie. I'm sure you'll find some shills who thought it was okay, but me, no, it was bad from beginning to end. A lot of corny jokes which don't work. This has Henry Cavill's CGI mustache. Basically, that became an instant meme. The General Steppenwolf is not an impressive villain. It doesn't help that his CGI already looks dated. Yeah, people were complaining about the effects when this was new. It has not held up all these years later. Ezra Miller's The Flash, annoying. Did not laugh once at him. Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot do not have that great a chemistry as Batman and Wonder Woman, and the plot is kind of a mess. The videos at the time were brutal, not holding back on explaining the Avengers Infinity War succeeds where Justice League fails. Yeah, basically, this is supposed to be the Justice League Avengers. A bunch of heroes who don't get along have to work together to stop the greater evil and all that jazz. I will say, I liked Henry Cavill as Superman in this movie. This movie finally made me appreciate Cavill as Superman, because when he's resurrected back to life, he's actually like his old self. He's the beacon of hope, the bright light, and the lovable, goofy badass we know and love. And kind of washing away how he was in Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice. Yeah, Superman's all happy and peppy and eager to save the Earth again and work with the Justice League. And Henry Cavill, definitely fun, minus his bad CGI mustache. Justice League 2017 is in my top 10 most hated movies of all time. It was that terrible. You were right, Joseph. It is bad. It is painfully stitched together, too. You can really tell a lot of scenes were not planned. There's a lot of subplots that go nowhere, subplots that were introduced. Josh Whedon definitely tried to have goofy-ass comedy in this movie to try and make up for how the Snyderverse is dark and depressing, and not once did it ever make me laugh. Yeah, the guy who made Buffy the Vampire Slayer has bad comedy in this movie. The Legion of Doom should have been the main antagonist of Justice League. Well, when I remember Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor, that made me kind of happy we dodged a bullet. Also, Ray Fisher, the actor, was Macbeth in Macbeth 2024, and nothing else because Ray Fisher kind of ruined his career after this movie. MLP Friendship is Magic tier list, maybe Ira. At least Zack Snyder's Justice League saw the light of day, and it was amazing. Yeah, the Snyder cut, way better than this movie, I will say it right now. That one is definitely the preferred cut, but I'd still stick with the animated show as S-tier Justice League. Also, why not the Legion of Doom be in the first movie than Steppenwolf? Because, Akira, they were setting up the Legion of Doom for more spin-offs and sequels. At the end of the movie, after Steppenwolf dies, basically the Legion of Doom is being set up. Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor escaped prison, and he's meeting with Deathstroke, who was supposed to get a spin-off movie, never happened. Deathstroke is played by the idiot bully Flash Thompson from Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Yeah, he finally got a major role in a comic book movie again, and he doesn't get his own film. Basically, they're setting up the Legion of Doom. We meet Cheetah and Black Manta later, but because the Snyderverse was canceled, that's never going to happen now. And I'm kind of glad because I do not want to see more of Jesse Eisenberg Luthor. Yeah, Grant Gustin over Ezra Miller for sure. Grant Gustin, way better Flash. The fact that he had a more great show on the time made this so much worse because the CW-verse had a chunk of the budget this movie got. Also, Flash is worse because of what we know about Ezra the Chokeslam Miller. Yeah, Ezra Miller, a lot of controversy surrounding that guy. We try not to talk about him too much, but it's a lot more painful going back and seeing him in these movies. I prefer Steppenwolf in the Zack Snyder film than this version. Yeah, Steppenwolf had a lot more character in the Snyder Cut. This version, generic Doomsday villain, he doesn't have a story. He's invading, basically, Earth to try and win back in Darkseid's good graces and help Apocalypse conquer the Earth later. He completely fails and he's killed by his own parademons. They, smelled the fear on him, which made no sense because how was he able to control them if they sense fear on people, but whatever. I'm back. Did I miss anything? Don't worry, Monica. We're on Joss Whedon's Justice League. That's as far as we got. I'm more familiar with the shows and movies than the comics, to be honest. So when I first saw the Snyder Cut, I just kept calling it Darkseid Diet Thanos. Yeah, that's kind of what he was. The Zack Snyder version worked better. Yeah, way better. That one's going up higher, but we're still on Justice League, which was complete trash. Ezra the Chokeslam Miller was not only a terrible miscast as the Flash, but casting Ezra Miller as the Flash aged like rotten milk. Yeah, wait, really did. MCU tier list will probably be like 90% of pre-Endgame being an S and A and B, with most all afterwards being Ds and Fs. Yeah. Spider-Man No Way Home was definitely the best post-Endgame movie. Oh, and Wolverine and Deadpool, that one does count, so that might be an S tier. Yeah, and I take it Scourge from Rise of the Beast was taking inspiration from this version of Steppenwolf, definitely. At this point, Ezra the Chokeslam Miller would work better as the Reverse Flash with his rep. Yeah, he would. Do you think you'll be able to make a Disney villain ranking? You know, that sounds like a fun idea. I might one day, but I'll have to think about it. Working on a crossover review with someone else first. Also, you're getting tired of the irony being used so much in this film. Do you wish that the films were more sincere like they were in 20 years ago? Yeah, I get tired of the Whedonisms we keep seeing in modern films. I would like to see a straight example of these tropes, like the old-fashioned superheroes, play dead serious again. I'm so tired of this, lol, isn't our universe so stupid kind of humor. Hottest Bond girls tier list. I have not watched James Bond. I've only seen 2 films all the way through. I know Halle Berry will probably be up top because I love her, but only seen Goldfinger and GoldenEye. I'm not a huge James Bond fan. That's considered comedy. Sadly it is. Jesse Eisenberg should have been the Riddler, not in any universe that would cross my mind that Jesse would be Lex Luthor. Yeah, bad casting, on par with Vince Vaughn's Norman Bates. Peacemaker Season 1 next. Also, Testament the Bible animations as Jerk McJerkins Morningstar. Not a great strip, but Gustin was better Flash. Talk about a Power Ranger Monsters reject. That's Steppenwolf. Be happy they didn't put the Legion of Doom in the DCEU because look how they butchered the Justice League and how the DCEU handled its villains. It would have been terrible for obvious reasons. Yeah, we dodged a bullet there. Design. Will you do a Batman tier list? Might have to think about that because there's just so much Batman for TV shows and movies. Still, quite a lot to handle there. Did you watch the Snyder Cut Justice League? It is on here. We're not there yet, but I want to cross off some crap soon. And okay, gonna go now. See you, just some random guy. So anyways, yeah, Justice League, total failure. This is not only one of the worst Snyderverse movies, one of the worst Justice League films ever. Might be a worse Superman movie, or worst superhero movie in general. Total F tier. It might be the bottom of this list bad. That's how much it's hated. It was completely trampled by the Snyder Cut. We'll get to that one, but I still want to go in order. So let's move on with a new whale of a tale, Aquaman. This one, I actually might put an A. Yeah, Jason Momoa's Aquaman. We finally got a good movie starring the King of the Sea. This one, complete apology for all the jokes about how Aquaman talks to fish and is a worthless superhero. Jason Momoa kicks ass in this movie. So much ass that he actually redeems this movie despite it starring Amber Turd. Yeah, Amber Turd plays Queen Mara, and some people might hate it for those exact reasons. I'm not gonna blame you there, but this is the first Snyderverse movie I actually thought was like a gold standard movie. Aquaman is another pretty solid splash, Amber Turd notwithstanding. Yeah, Amber Turd as Queen Mara might hold this movie back for some people. I will say I do like it. I still like it. I can look past Amber Turd because the movie is a good Aquaman origin. Basically, we see Aquaman discovering his identity and kind of doing the whole Man of Steel thing much better and at sea. Aquaman is the king of Atlantis. However, his mother, Nicole Kidman, fell in love with Jango Fett, a human who lived in a lighthouse in the surface world. They had a forbidden romance and gave birth to a son, that son being Aquaman. However, Aquaman was left in the surface world, where she had a second son with the king back in Atlantis, and the second son is trying to take over the kingdom and declare war on the surface world. The second son and the villain of our movie, Ocean Master. Ocean Master and Aquaman are basically the Loki and Thor for the DCEU. Good brother versus evil brother. One wants to do evil things, harm the surface world, declare war on everything, and basically take over the world, of course. Well, Aquaman is the good son, and he's kind of a himbo hero, but that made him a lot more charming. Aquaman's a good guy, a doofus with a heart of gold, who's learning to accept his heritage and greater responsibilities, becoming the king Atlantis needs. And we get a wacky misadventure where he and Mera run away from Atlantis law and try to stop Ocean Master's conquest. Willis Black Manta is also being set up in this movie, where he actually is a pretty kick-ass villain. What about Cramber Bird? Yeah, we don't talk about that turd. Also, Malty S. Melmarek is better than Amber, the Queen of Garbage. Jason Momoa was great as Aquaman. Pretty good villains with Ocean Master and Black Manta. Even the effects under the sea look pretty awesome. Yeah, Atlantis is fun. This movie actually explores the underwater kingdom and Atlantean magic. And yeah, it's finally getting rid of the realistic approach of the DCEU by embracing the mystical side. I really loved those weird xenomorph sea monsters. They go to like the abyss and there's all these like kind of alien-esque looking ocean monsters. They look like xenomorphs but with fins, basically. They attack their ship. They're trying to get to like the abyss to find like a powerful MacGuffin to prove that Aquaman is the true king. Going on is like Jedi training. William Dafoe plays a really funny character, and we find out in kind of a How to Train Your Dragon fashion that Nicole Kidman is alive and living underneath the abyss in hiding all along. Looks like they changed their hair of Orm and Aquaman, but overall decent movie. Yeah, they did change a lot about Aquaman and his kind of universe. They took some creative liberties, but I thought it was a pretty fun movie. It's definitely not high art, but it's actually a fun, watchable superhero movie. Minus Amber Turd. That is the only bad part. Amber Turd stars as the love interest, and this was back when she was hot and back when we thought she was likable, but Queen Mira has always been a cool character in my mind, a very underrated waterbender hero. Basically, she and Aquaman kind of fall in love, and we see how they become the ultimate DC power couple in this movie. Really fun Star Wars-esque adventure. It feels like kind of an extended Clone Wars movie, I will say. Nicole Kidman plays Aquaman's mom and is kind of acting like Hiccup's mom. Basically, she's kind of the dragon queen, but she's the water queen. And Aquaman finally makes his powers cool because he talks to like a Lovecraftian octopus slash giant eel monster, basically proves his worth as king and fights the Ocean Master and Black Manta, defeating them both and restoring Atlantean honor, basically. Really classical kind of old school fantasy movie, and that's what really made it fun. Yeah, I like this movie, but I boycotted the second one because, as owner of DC and Harry Potter, WB fired Johnny Depp and kept her boycotted Secrets of Dumbledore as well. Yeah, I won't blame you for that. Patrick Wilson should have been Aquaman since Aquaman is blonde. Well, they tried to make Jason Momoa look blonde in this movie. I was kind of fine with it because he's basically Thor in the DCEU. Mind if I hitch a ride on the MCU tier list? I would have some ideas on where to put those movies and shows. Well, unfortunately, I have not seen the MCU shows. I watched WandaVision and then noped out when they basically forgave her for all her sins. And I was foolish enough to try She-Hulk because I love She-Hulk, and they gave us the worst version of the Green Lady ever. He's like an edgy version of Aquaman from Batman before Brave and the Bold, but not edgy, it's off-putting. Yeah, some people have mixed feelings on Jason Momoa's Aquaman. He would be much better as Lobo, I agree with you there, but honestly, I had fun with his portrayal. Yeah, I don't know the guy who played Black Manta. The Piranha Walkers. Yeah, you remember that. Yeah, the Xenomorph are kind of the Piranha Walkers in this. I know I'm late, but I have to agree with Akira, not about Patrick, but how this Aquaman has long black hair, while in the comics he had blonde short hair. I think they were trying to use lighting to make his hair look blonde, which, yeah, pretty silly, but whatever. Instead of Amber, they should have gotten Ariel. Not Black Ariel, that's for sure. Unfortunately, Aquaman is a murderer in this movie because he does leave Black Manta's father to die, which is the same thing as murder. Well, Black Manta's father was also a monster, a Somali pirate who killed people, so I did not feel sorry for Black Manta losing his dad. Jason Momoa is the only actor out of the main six Justice League that didn't have any behind-the-scenes controversy monkey business, or anything that would lead to him out of the DCEU. Yeah, Momoa's a pretty cool guy. He seems to be friendly with fans, which is why I'm a lot more forgiving for him. Plus, he also trolled Amber Turd by dressing up as Johnny Depp, so major high five for him. Aquaman has never been one of my favorite superheroes, though he was pretty good in the Injustice games. Aquaman is kick-ass in the DC animated universe. Love Aquaman cutting off his own hand to save his son. That was intense and really kick-ass. So, like classic fantasy with superheroes. Yeah, basically, that's what this is. It's basically kind of like a King Arthur legend. A warrior trying to prove he's the rightful heir to the throne, that he's the good king that their world needs. An evil, corrupt king is doing evil things and destroying the kingdom more than helping it. And basically, the good king has to stand up and dethrone that corrupt authority figure, mano a mano. And yeah, we get that kick-ass fight scene of him fighting the Ocean Master on the submarine. He beats him and they lock him up, give him a room with a view. Yeah, William Dafoe gets the final diss in, and Aquaman accepts his rightful position as the king of Atlantis and becomes the Aquaman we all know and love. And yeah, pretty fun movie. I would put it on A. It is an awesome splash. Too bad we didn't get King Shark on the Aquaman movie, or in the Aquaman movie. I thought it would be cool. His species does cameo, but that's about it. One thing I noticed between Aquaman and Justice League, that in the Aquaman film had people talk underwater, while in the Justice League they used bubbles to create air for them. Yeah, that should be a sign of how piss poor this universe's plans were. Patrick Wilson played Agent Lynch in the A-Team, yeah. He was also in Watchmen. That's kind of why he came on here, because Patrick Wilson played Night Owl. He was friends with Zack Snyder, and he became the Ocean Master for the DCEU. Apparently, he's going to be Lobo in James Gunn's verse. Looking forward to that. Jason Momoa as Lobo sounds really kick-ass. Batman Begins climax logic for the win. Yeah, that is kind of a messy. Don't worry, it's not making S tier, but I just think it's dumb fun. Even so, someone losing their dad is tragic. It would be. It got explored sort of in the sequel, but yeah, basically Black Manta is in this. He loses his dad and he blames Aquaman for it, so he declares war on the King of the Sea and tries to assassinate him, only to epic fail and have this vendetta against Aquaman just like the classic Black Manta. Yeah, Dolph Lundgren was He-Man in the terrible live-action movie. And Drago in Rocky IV. Alright, so yeah, Aquaman, it's awesome. And speaking of awesome, finally, S-tier masterpiece, Shazam! Yep, Shazam going into S-tier. This is, without a doubt in my mind, the #1 best movie of the Snyderverse, and basically, it reversed all the crap that this universe has been doing up until this point. Having fun, having a lighthearted adventure. Love Shazam. This one is one of my favorite DC movies ever, and the first 10 out of 10 Snyderverse movie on my radar. Loved it, loved Zachary Levi as Captain Marvel, aka Shazam. Loved Dr. Savannah as a villain. Had a very deep theme about family, overcoming abusive past, and confronting your past. Really fun villains, a rockin' good time, kids having fun with magic, haunting hour, and Goosebumps style, and some surprisingly scary horror moments too. Shazam! Awesome. It is S tier. It is a masterpiece. It is so fun. Unfortunately got followed up by a dumbass sequel, but yeah, pretty cool movie. Shazam is just a really fun time. I love pretty much every character in this and every moment in this movie. Shazam is great. Yeah, that's what I meant by Batman Begins climax logic. I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. Yeah, very questionable moment, but that's why it's not on S tier with Shazam. I remember seeing the trailer in the theater when I went to see the Venom movie. Oh, you saw the Venom movie. An interesting note is that Shazam is not the hero. Okay. An interesting note is that Shazam is that the hero real's name is Captain Marvel, but Marvel owns the rights. Yeah, if you don't know, Shazam and Captain Marvel are basically the same hero. He was originally called Captain Marvel. Shazam is just the magic words he says to transform into his ultimate god hero form. But Marvel threatened to sue, basically. They had to change Captain Marvel's name to something else because that would confuse people, because Marvel owns the Captain Marvel name and moniker and all that. So they changed it to Shazam, and it's the same guy, basically. He's still Captain Marvel, but they call him something else so Marvel won't cry about it and threaten their money. So yeah, he's Shazam in this, and I really like it. Too bad its end credit scene was never paid off. Yeah, the malicious Mr. Mind shows up to recruit Dr. Savannah for their evil villain team, and it's completely thrown aside so Shazam could fight two superpowered old ladies. Yes, I saw the Venom movie. I'm very dedicated to Venom. Moving on. Zachary Levi was Eugene, Flynn Rider in Tangled, Fandral in Thor Ragnarok, Larry Daly in The Night of the Museum, Kamun Ra Rises Again. Also, Dr. Savannah's father is played by the guy who played the Riddler from Batman the Animated Series. Ah yes, Lionel Luthor. Michael Bell is Dr. Savannah's abusive dickhead father. Michael Bell really loves the DC universe. I swear, he's been in like so many DC projects. Michael Bell has played the Riddler on Batman the Animated Series. He played Lionel Luthor on Smallville. He was Dr. Jason Woodrue on Batman and Robin. And he played the abusive dad of Dr. Savannah, the villain in this movie, in the Shazam movie. And yeah, Dr. Savannah and Billy basically have this really cool kind of same side, like, They're both like a same side on the same coin, basically. They're reflections of each other. Both Savannah and Billy came from troubled upbringings, abusive homes, lost their parents. Dr. Savannah's mom died. His dad was an abusive jerk. His brother was an idiot bully who beat on him because he was weaker. This made Dr. Savannah really pissed off at his family. Billy was basically abandoned by his mom. He thinks there was some deep reason that they got separated and he's trying to find her, basically. However, they both find out that they were nobody. They came from nothing. Dr. Savannah almost got the power of Shazam, but he gave in to sin because his abusive childhood basically corrupted him, and he can't look past himself. He can't grow up and think about others. It's all about him. He falls prey to the 7 deadly sins. Basically, he gets kicked out by the wizard, only to work his entire adulthood trying to reopen the portal, where he steals the power of Black Adam and the 7 deadly sins to become the champion by force, and use the power to get revenge on everyone. Very scary but satisfying scene where he kills his abusive family. I remember my audience was completely shocked when he threw the idiot brother bully out the window. And he murders his dad and the entire board by basically feeding them to demons in a real creepy lights out horror scene. Very satisfying and very creepy, and easily a sign that this movie is going to have dark moments. Dr. Savannah has like a powerful object planted into it, like his eye, like it's a Millennium Eye. It's carrying the 7 deadly sins and giving him ultimate power, and he's going on a rampage. But he finds out that the wizard is still alive. The wizard passes on the power to Billy Batson, the power of Captain Marvel, aka Shazam. He has to say Shazam, and it will turn him into a Greek god level superhero, kind of like Superman, same powers, but he's still a kid in his mind. It gives him an adult body, and Billy is handed these powers, basically. He actually did not earn it like he does in traditional comics, which gives us a compelling story arc of Billy basically maturing and growing up. They teased a Black Adam versus Marvel family that was never paid off. Yeah, you could thank Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for that. Oh, he was also Carmine Falcone in The Penguin. Oh, he was? Oh, Michael... No, he wasn't. I thought that was, what's his name? Agent Simmons from the Transformers movie. Well, in that case, Zachary Levi is a better Captain Marvel than Brie Larson. Yeah, that's true. That is fact. Screw Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. And, oh yeah, Zachary Levi's Harold in the Purple Crayon movie. Yeah, I'm not watching that. Also, read that one. Billy Batson is a better Captain Marvel than Shazam. Very inconvenient when they sing his hero name. I met him actually when he did Drowsy Chaperone in New York. Oh, good for you. What did you think of Zack Snyder's version of Shazam would be? Probably like Superman, angsty, comes from a dark and troubled past, probably had like an abusive parents who he ponders killing with his Shazam powers, and basically he sees his destiny is to become a destroyer, and he's hiding it behind a smile. Basically angsty crap like his Man of Steel. Mark Strong also played Sinestro in the Green Lantern 2010. Yeah, he really traded up. I think Savannah killing his dad was something fans respected to see. Yeah, that was definitely a satisfying moment. Really creepy horror movie moment. Basically, Dr. Savannah finds out that the power of Shazam was passed on to Billy, and he's trying to stalk Billy and find out who Shazam is, following him, trying to take him out, because he wants to absorb the godlike powers because he believes he deserves them, and that's what puts Dr. Savannah and Captain Marvel at odds, basically. Meanwhile, we get a funny, kind of Big style story, like Tom Hanks' Big, where Billy can change into an adult man, but he has Superman powers, and he and his foster sibling, the handicapped kid, basically getting wacky kid adventures, abusing the powers, having fun, having Zachary Levi do a lot of comedy skits. But here's the thing, they're actually funny. This movie is actually funny. It's funnier than Suicide Squad and Justice League for sure, and is actually entertaining. It's actually amusing, and Billy actually does grow up. He has to learn a lesson about maturing, using his powers for others, and gets called out on how he's selfish because he starts ditching his step-sibling, starts going on his own, starts causing trouble, and really shows that he does not know how to use the powers very well. He's a newbie superhero, basically struggling. He gets his ass kicked by Dr. Savannah, barely surviving him. A really funny fight scene between them. He throws Kevin Conroy's Batman figure at him. Greed, you can have him. Yeah, awesome scene. Also, Billy Batson's actor, Asher Angel, played Jonah Beck in Andy Mack. Never saw it. Did you know there is another hero like Shazam named Mazaz? No, I did not. I did not have much familiarity with Captain Marvel / Shazam's history. I only know what's written on Wikipedia or what's been in TV shows and movies. Also, Mary Marvel, A-tier hottie. That's right, we find out in a twist, the Shazam family is in this movie. Basically, Billy needs help and learns to stop being alone. He confronts his mother and he finds out there was no sob story. She was just basically a selfish bitch who ditched her baby because she couldn't take care of him. She did not really care about Billy. She's dating another scuzzbag man who doesn't really take care of her. She's a neglectful parent who abandoned her kid, and Billy basically wasted all his time trying to find somebody who never cared about him. He's not special. It's kind of Ray Palpatine's story, but done better because there's actual emotion involved. And yeah, basically, Billy finally lets go of his mom and abandons chasing his past and looking forward to a future because the Shazam family are actually cool and actually love Billy, whereas his biological mother didn't. And there's a very cute moral about found family, about accepting foster family. His foster siblings love him. Dr. Savannah takes the foster siblings hostage to force Billy to surrender the power, where he gives the power to his siblings and they become the Shazam family, like in the comics. All the sisters and the brothers both become badass heroes like him and fight the 7 deadly sins in Dr. Savannah, where it's pretty fun, really kick-ass fight. It is, some of the CGI is a bit wonky at times, but it's mostly fun. Yeah, Mary Marvel is in this. Not sure if Zack Snyder was going to have Mary become the infamous villain Mary Marvel we know and hate, but yeah, she's in this and she's pretty beautiful. I'm pretty sure they had the same girl play her adult form too. Also, Lust should have been a girl like Full Metal Alchemist and a male monster. Yeah, I could not tell the sins apart. That was my problem. They're all male monsters and really look the same. They're all these gross orc gargoyle looking things. It's very hard to differentiate any of them. Billy Batson is better than Carol Danvers in the movie. Yeah, that says a lot when Billy Batson is a selfish kid who needs to mature. Much better than Brie Larson's Captain Marvel. I kind of wish that the Savannah in that film was the scrawny nerd scientist from the comics. I think they tried going for that, but the guy playing him definitely looked way too jacked. For some odd reason, Shazam just had this family movie type feeling that just made it so much fun. Yeah, this is actually a family movie, a really cute family movie too, with some dark, mature moments. I would describe it as kind of like The Goonies or Monster House, but with superheroes, and it's really fun for that. The family gets along, they give the idiot bullies their comeuppance, they defeat the 7 deadly sins, and Dr. Savannah loses his power because the envy overwhelms him and tries to attack Shazam, where he traps a demon and they defeat the forces of evil. They're finally a happy family again, and Dr. Savannah is thrown into the nut house where he'll be built up for a second movie we never got. Yeah, there's a twist ending where Dr. Savannah's in the nut house trying to reopen the portal again, where he meets the malicious Mr. Mind, the evil caterpillar worm that's supposed to evolve into a kaiju monster that feeds on good energy or whatever, and yeah, this goes absolutely nowhere because it's abandoned in the second movie, but yeah, I do think Shazam is awesome, and there's also a cute post-credit scene where he brings Superman over to his cafeteria. Oh yeah, Darla's Shazam form wasn't bad looking either. Yeah, the Shazam characters are all super attractive superhumans, so yeah. Okay. And modern comics, yeah. The original Dr. Savannah was a conniving old man, and the movie did change his character in a respectable way. I was actually fine with the change that Dr. Savannah's not the cliche mad scientist. Here, he's a bit younger and more buffer, but they make him a mirror of Billy. Basically, they both had troubled upbringings and family problems. However, Dr. Savannah's family problems made him a worse person, whereas Billy finally overcame his trauma and his family drama, basically becoming a better person and moving on, letting go, looking to his future, whereas Dr. Savannah was always envious, always pissed off, and his troubled childhood kind of broke him and molded him into a worse person, whereas Billy was able to crawl out of the pit and become something more. I would say the one with the massive mouth is most likely Gluttony, probably. Uncle Dudley actually is in this movie, Akira. I think he's Jerry from The Walking Dead. Yeah, Jerry from The Walking Dead, the cool, overweight bodyguard guy. I think he's supposed to be Uncle Dudley. They do call him they call him like something similar to Dudley, and he looks like him. He's just Asian. That's the only difference between them. Yeah, Jerry from The Walking Dead is the cool foster dad, and really nice to see foster families who actually care for each other positively represented in this movie. Yeah, the Seven Deadly Sins were Steve Bloom, Fred Tatasciore, and Darren DePaul. Yeah, hard to tell it was them at first, but yeah, it was them. The one with the wings is most likely Wrath. A family picture. Love Shazam, but I gotta go. Bye, Jon Snow. I actually went into Shazam not expecting much, expecting it to suck from the movie poster where he's blowing a bubble on his phone to Lily Singh and do the floss dance in the trailers. Yeah, the trailers really made it look bad. Dr. Savannah was also in the John Carter films. Okay, yeah. Anyways, Shazam, total classic. This is easily the best Snyderverse movie ever because they finally made DC fun. Okay, so I gotta use the restroom, but considering how scattered the rest of the entries are, I'll let you guys vote on which you want to see ranked next. BRB. Alright, Cat's back. Let's see what you guys wanted. Blue Beetle, Black Adam, Blue Beetle, Black Adam. It would have been great if members of the Marvels look like the comics, but the movie makes them hiding their identity better. Yeah, it definitely did, because they look like adults when they're really kids. Did you see that really cool animated short, Shazam, that Billy first became Shazam and he fights Black Adam, who has his Egyptian accent, and Superman is in it. Oh yeah, DC, Superman, Shazam, The Rise of Black Adam. I have seen that. I thought it was pretty cool. We were gonna review it at first, but that kind of fell by the wayside. Alright, people want Black Adam and Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle's the only one I haven't seen here, to be honest. Why do both movies suck? Alright, let's get it out of the way. Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle, going on to C. Yeah, this one, definitely the definitely the poster child for a painfully average, safe, sanitized family superhero movie. This introduces Jaime Reyes, the third Blue Beetle, to modern audiences. It's trying to be like Shazam. It's another one with a family movie. Jaime Reyes is basically this goofy teenager trying to be cool, and he accidentally stumbles upon the Scarab Beetle created by Ted Kord. In this verse, Ted Kord is dead, and Jaime accidentally gets his paws on it because he's at an interview for Kord Industries. Ted Kord has died, and his evil, white, rich, elitist, racist daughter is taking over the company, and her bodyguard knockoff Brock Sampson is kind of the villain of this movie. Basically, they're trying to take over the poor districts and make room for Kord Industries expanding, and using the Scarab Beetle to basically process weapons, while Jaime unlocks his powers and gets into really bad Shazam escapades. It's good, but that's the problem. It's good. It's not amazing or spectacular. Blue Beetle was okay. Yeah, some people liked it. Me, I was not a fan of this movie for two huge reasons. One, it is kind of a woke movie. There's a lot of social commentary on Hispanics and how white people are bad. I swear, Jaime Reyes goes to an interview for Kord Industries and he's dressed in a fancy suit and someone mistakes him for the valet. Yes, there is a racist joke like that where Jaime is mistaken as like a valet or an intern or a custodian because he's Mexican. Yeah, really, that's what they go for, and found that really offensive. And Susan Sarandon's the villain. One, she's not threatening, she's not entertaining, and she's also kind of too old to fight Shazam, so all that went to her bodyguard, who's a slightly more interesting character, but super underdeveloped. The bodyguard is sort of a stand-in for the Black Beetle. He's this evil scarab wielder who's doing Susan Sarandon's bidding and trying to basically assassinate the Blue Beetle hero. I first got introduced to Blue Beetle in Injustice 2, though he was pretty good on that. I got introduced to Jaime Reyes' Blue Beetle through Batman Brave and the Bold. I love Brave and the Bold. Will Friedle played the Blue Beetle, and he was really cool. Really love his powers, love his armor. Blue Beetle is a newer superhero. When I say newer, he came around like in 2008 to the 2010s. He's basically a younger Teen Titan style hero. He bonds with a Scarab Beetle attaching itself to his spine, and it gives him kind of Venom and Spider-Man sort of powers. The Scarab is a living being, it's attached to his spine, and it creates him a super suit, like a cyborg suit. He can fly, he can shoot lasers, he turns into like beetle tech transformations, has like the ability to grow insect appendages, and the suit keeps him safe from anything. It is kind of a super iron suit, basically. However, Jaime Reyes is a goofball teenager, so of course he's kind of DC's Spider-Man. He's a poor kid trying to be a hero, trying to do the right thing. Learning great power comes great responsibility. So one thing I hated was all the pandering, all the woke messaging, how Hispanics have it bad, Will is hypocritically portraying Hispanics as stereotypes, and number two, I hate Jaime's family. There is way too much focus on the Reyes family. George Lopez is in this movie and he's not funny. Like, Batman is a fascist, essay. That made me cringe and made me think this was gonna suck. Yeah, George Lopez, he is supposed to be funny, but he's not. George Lopez plays Jaime's uncle, and he is annoying. All of Jaime's relatives are annoying and kind of racist. It's supposed to be this Hispanic Lives Matter kind of movie, but all the Hispanics are racist stereotypes, and they're unfunny, painfully unfunny, really annoying. George Lopez did not need to be here. Lopez is basically kind of a Doc Brown uncle to Jaime and helping him study his scarab powers, and he was bad. He was just not funny. I like the Black Beetle in Young Justice. Also, he has a really cool voice. Well, here, the Black Beetle is generic. He's the Ironmonger. He's Robot Jeff Bridges. He's basically a generic doomsday villain who's a mere counterpart of our hero. He's a bad guy using the same powers for bad things, and that's kind of lame. Yeah, Ted Kord's sister is the bad guy. Oh, it's his sister, not daughter. Okay, my mistake. Yeah, I didn't care about this movie. I forgot about it, like, after I left the theater. Okay, it's very forgettable. It's basically baby's first superhero movie, watching a goofy comic relief kid hero trying to mature and be a man with these superpowers. With great power comes great responsibility. Blue Beetle fights knockoff Black Beetle. The Susan Sarandon's bodyguard is kind of the real villain in this, and basically, he kind of agrees with Jaime in the end, how they're both poor and being mistreated by those evil rich white elitists, and turns against Susan Sarandon. However, he's ultimately defeated himself because he was using his scarab for evil. Jaime saves the day, and the family basically give a message about how family's always there for each other, which is ironic when you know Blue Beetle is a solo superhero. Yeah, I can't find the Superman Shazam animated movie anywhere. Have you tried Tubi? Or you could try Dailymotion. I know Dailymotion has it. I like Black Beetle and Young Justice. He has a really... Yeah, okay, that one. George Lopez is not funny, and I know he's supposed to be. Also, Black Beetle is the Spider-Man in Justice League. No, that was Black Spider. Black Spider is the Spider-Man in Young Justice. Isn't Black Beetle an alien? Well, Bat Kid, they completely changed that for the movie because they pretty much try to force unknown, obscure characters to fit their vision. Same, the show was awesome. Cat, the villain is not the daughter of Ted Kord, it's his sister. Okay, I did admit I made a mistake. Yeah, his sister, it's basically Susan Sarandon, an old rich white woman, is the villain of a Blue Beetle movie. Who wanted to see that? Yeah, George Lopez was more tolerable in Shark Boy and Lava Girl. Do these people know what fascism is? Yeah, really hated that line. The Batman is a fascist essay. No, not Black Beetle in this movie. I feel so robbed. Yeah, he's pretty much Black Beetle in name only. The bodyguard gets a scarab and he sort of turns into Black Beetle. It's sort of Black Beetle. It's basically an evil buff bad guy with a scarab power. He's supposed to be Black Beetle, and no, he's not an alien. The Reach are never referenced in this movie. Spoilers, the alien origins for the scarab, not referenced once because they were saving that for the sequel. Yeah, Ted Kord is still alive. He's alive in the end. Yeah, the end credits show that Ted Kord is alive and he makes contact with Jaime. Not sure how they're going to be best friends because he basically betrayed his evil sister. The sister is based off of a Brave and the Bold villain. Ted Kord's brother wanted to weaponize the Scarab Beetle, create super high-grade military tech off of the Scarab's superpowers. Susan Sarandon is basically the evil brother from Brave and the Bold. They just gender flipped him into an evil white woman because for some reason a lot of old ladies want to be a part of comic book movies. I don't get it either, but yeah, basically they're trying to weaponize the Scarab and kill Jaime and get it back. Jaime defeats them, exposes them, and Ted Kord makes contact, wanting to join with Jaime, and it's gonna be really weird if two Blue Beetles exist in the same universe because, yeah, that's not gonna confuse people. And not all white people are rich. Yeah, I agree, Bat Kid. That's why it was terrible. Yeah, keep listing actors. Akira, I don't know who any of them are. Because Karens. Yeah, Susan Sarandon was a Karen. Blue Beetle, it's okay. I don't think it's one of the good Snyderverse movies. And honestly, it was kind of a movie that came and went. It's an average kids movie. I do not like the racism all over this movie. And some people liked it. I just found it pretty lame, very generic, very unfun, and it tried way too hard at copying the Shazam formula. It's a C-tier movie. There are definitely worse Snyderverse entries, but this is one I'm not gonna see again. Blue Beetle deserves to be squashed. Needed some water. So, speaking of which, Black Adam. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam in a movie where he never meets Shazam. Yeah, this one's going on to C tier. I'm putting it above Blue Beetle because I did like Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, but The Rock's Black Adam, it is generic. It is a definition of painfully average. It's a mid-movie. This is basically the origin of Black Adam for the first half hour, then they turn him into an anti-hero because Dwayne Johnson didn't want to be the villain. Black Adam was fine. Not the worst, but could have been so much more. Well, we had Arnold Vosloo voicing Black Adam. Now we have the Scorpion King playing live-action version. This highly underrated villain. So, like the Ghost and Taskmaster from the MCU. Yeah, kind of. Please, Birds of Prey and F. I hated Ewan McGregor as Black Mask, and DCEU Harley Quinn sucks. I agree, James, but we gotta talk about Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam. It's average. It is meh. It is fine. It's not the worst movie ever, but also nothing really special. Basically, Dwayne Johnson tried to become the new face for the DCEU, and that didn't do very well. People were tired of the Snyderverse by this point, and basically, Black Adam is not a very faithful representation of the character. Black Adam is basically the champion of Shazam who turned evil, but because The Rock doesn't want to play the bad guy, they make Black Adam an anti-hero. Basically, the villain in this is a weird bootleg Satan. He looks like a demon. I kind of forgot who he was, basically. Black Adam fights an evil demon, and he sort of teams up with the Justice League. We see Justice League characters. Atom Smasher is in this. Hawkman is in this. And we see my favorite, Pierce Brosnan, is Dr. Fate. And I actually liked Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. He was really cool, actually. He felt like the character. I know they should have got Oded Fehr, since he could definitely play the character in live action, but Pierce was alright. He was pretty cool. Literally nobody likes this movie when I read the reviews. It was kind of forgettable. That's why it's on C tier. It felt like Dwayne was meant to play Black Adam as it almost looked like it. Yeah, unfortunately, Dwayne Johnson was supposed to fight Shazam in this movie, but because he didn't want to, Dwayne's ego kind of held this movie back because he turned it into a generic hero turned anti-hero kind of story. Black Adam is basically a morally gray character now, and not the evil villain we know in the Shazam stories, and he goes on a rather generic hero's journey adventure, and yeah, it's just forgettable. It's really weak, nothing really to write home about, and Henry Cavill as Superman is in this movie for the last time ever, where they set up they're going to form a new Justice League with Black Adam in the inner circle, which never happened because it's never brought up ever again. Why try to be cast as a villain who's known for being defeated by Captain Marvel? Yeah, nobody likes this movie. Sabaka, the main villain, and Black Adam join the Justice Society, and promoting the movie in the Crypto movie with Dwayne Johnson voicing the dog at the end. That's right, Dwayne Johnson voiced Crypto the Superdog in honestly a better role he was in than this movie. Oh yeah, Oded Fehr was great as Dr. Fate in Justice League Animated. Yeah, I kind of wish they brought Oded Fehr back to play the character in live action. I mean, he still can. He can do physical stunt work still. And it's not like Dr. Fate gets super involved like Bruce Lee or Batman. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is like the worst version of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, Dwayne's trying really hard to be cool with the kids, especially in this movie. I actually thought it was a joke when I heard that the Black Adam movie was going to be starring The Rock as Black Adam back in 2019. Yeah, really weird hearing Dwayne Johnson wanted to be in the DCEU. I find that hard to believe. Believe Dwayne Johnson is going to play Ganondorf in The Legend of Zelda? Most likely not. BRB, bye Shadowlink, see you again later. Okay, anyways, Black Adam, it's mid, it's meh, it's very forgettable, it's kind of trash when you really think about it, but I can see some people liking it, but it laid no impression on me. It's a lot better than Man of Steel and the bottom F tier movies, but Black Adam, the definition of a very forgettable movie, I don't recommend it. It is a C tier because it's at least more competent than these other movies. needed some water, so... Alright, let's knock off Wonder Woman 1984, which... F. Yeah, it's F tier. I almost want to put it under Justice League, but... It did have its fair share of fans. I did not like this movie. Talk about a disappointing sequel. After how great the first Wonder Woman was, it was mind-blowing how much the quality dropped because this was crap. For starters, it is way too long. This movie is almost 3 hours long. And I kid you not, half of it could have been deleted entirely. They massacred my girl, Cheetah. Kristen Wiig from Ghostbusters 2016 was Cheetah, and Pedro Pascal is Maxwell Lord, aka the most forgettable villain ever. Basically, it sucks. It sucks. It's way too long. It's got too much going on. Too little to fill the runtime. It did not need to be this long. The effects got worse. The writing got worse. And Patty Jenkins tried to do a fantasy romance story to questionable degrees. They wasted the Justice Society of America and Black Adam. Yeah, they did, Joseph. They really did. Looks like a badly written Elseworld story. He better not. Yeah, I prefer another Scorpion King film to set up the opening to The Mummy Returns again, if done right, since he's going from a hero to a villain role. I first saw him in the Tooth Fairy movie. Remember those days. The movie that had a live-action version of Catra, and yes, as close as you can get to a live-action She-Ra. Did not like the effects. The cheetah looks awful. She looks like one of the cats from that awful Cats movie. They CGI all the makeup over Kristen Wiig instead of doing something practical like the Mummy movies, and it looks bad. Cheetah does not look good. She does not look hot. She does not look kick-ass, and you could tell Kristen Wiig was not really there, basically. They have a lot of bad CGI in this movie. One of the scenes, I kid you not, somebody compared it to Linkara's green screen running, and Linkara's effects look like the exact same for this movie, which is embarrassing because it had a huge budget. Also, why didn't they get Buffy, the actress, to play Cheetah? I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar, she probably would have been cool, but I don't know, I guess she was too old. Kristen Wiig might be younger than Sarah Michelle Gellar is. Who let them make this horrible fanfic? I did watch Nostalgia Critic's review and he thought he was hilarious, but it's Doug Walker. He thinks anything like this is funny. Yeah, I can see it as so bad it's good funny because it's super incompetent, but as a movie, it is boring and unwatchable. It is bad. Yeah, I thought the movie is hilariously bad, but I have a selective sense of humor. Yeah, we all find so bad it's good stuff to varying from person to person. I heard the reason why the movie bombed was because it was filmed during the COVID-19 pandemic and movies were on streaming. Well, it would have bombed anyway because it was terrible. Wonder Woman might be a rapist too because there's this magic stone in the movie, and the magic stone can make any one wish come true. Basically, Pedro Pascal's Maxwell Lord absorbs the stone into him, and he becomes a genie who wants to use this magic to help make the world a better place, but is ironically making it a lot worse and doing questionable things, forcing Wonder Woman to come out of retirement and step in and fight this evil magic villain. She has a best friend. Wonder Woman got a job as like an archaeologist or something. The cheetah is her best friend before slowly turning into a bitter enemy. Cheetah wishes to be a stronger person, like an apex predator. Cheetah kind of a ripoff of Uma Thurman's Poison Ivy and Jim Carrey's Riddler, a super dorky loser nerd weirdo who becomes a super sexy badass by halfway through the movie and the ultimate villain. Why not bring back Steve Trevor fully, not turn her into a creep? Yeah, that would have been better. So, basically, Wonder Woman makes a magic wish where she wished she had Steve Trevor back because she feels alone and he was the first man she ever loved. And Steve Trevor comes back by quantum leaping into some random guy and living through this guy. Like, his soul takes over this random guy's body, and Wonder Woman basically picks up where they left off and has a romance with him because Wonder Woman's dreams come true. She finds out the first man she ever loved is back, cheers her up, and she feels whole again. And unfortunately, this leads to some very questionable, unfortunate implications because as she has a romance with this guy, she basically has sex with him too and goes all the way. And when you think about it, Wonder Woman is having sex with this guy who is completely unconscious and not in his own body, being used by Steve Trevor. If the genders were reversed, do you think this scene would have gotten through? Yeah, they didn't fully bring Steve Trevor back. It's just his soul possessing some random guy. And yeah, it led to a lot of controversy. Cheetah has red hair and yellow fur. Not in this movie. Now she has brown shit fur. About as much as green screen as Jeepers Creepers 4. The fight scenes in this movie took me back to the good old days of 1970 show. Yeah, Linda Carter is actually in this movie too. She's basically an elder warrior, and she has a cameo because Linda Carter played Wonder Woman back in the day, and I like Linda Carter, but her cameos are kind of pointless. I was looking forward to seeing her. She does nothing. She just invented this super hot girl armor, which Wonder Woman takes up for the final fight. I thought it was sweet that Diana still loves Steve Trevor after his death in World War I. Yeah, that is sweet, but it's kind of questionable because she didn't wish for Steve to come back and his soul is quantum leaping into some random guy and holding this guy hostage to have a relationship with this girl the random guy doesn't even know. And that kind of sucked the romance out of it. Yeah, speaking of which, this is why the movie sucks. It is. 2/3 of it is a romance between Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor, and it goes on for way too long. It's like, don't get me wrong, they have cute chemistry, and we all love seeing Wonder Woman and Steve Trevor happy together, but one, the questionable circumstances raise some eyebrows, and two, it kind of ruins the movie. It grinds to a screeching halt every time it focuses on the romance and Wonder Woman thinking about her fee-fees, and it's boring. It's boring. And while this is happening, basically Cheetah undergoes a "you go girl" montage where she stands up to toxic men. All the men are awful in this movie. They're either evil or stupid or both. Basically, Cheetah deals with toxic men. She turns into a cheetah because she gets catcalled, and she beats a sexist guy to death and embraces her cat heritage and becomes Maxwell Lord's minion, helping him use the magic wishes to make lives better, like how her life has become better now that she's a villain or something, I don't know. Cheetah's origin is badly botched in this movie, and they massacred my girl. Nope. Pedro Pascal, yeah, he's the Mandalorian. Also, Maxwell Lord have a son, like in a bland redeem moment. Yeah, Maxwell Lord has a son, and weirdly, the son is an Asian kid, which is kind of weird because Pascal looks like Donald Trump, like a total white guy, and I guess the mom might be Asian, but we never see her. So Maxwell Lord wants his son to love him, and he's using these magic wishes to somehow win him back. His ultimate plan is he wants to televise his powers across the globe and make everyone's dreams come true, and through a very unbelievable, cringy, gross out, mushy moment, Wonder Woman casts a broadcast saying everyone should reverse their wishes because it's the right thing to do and we're all in this together, and it is kind of cringy. It's like a total My Little Pony Care Bears moment where everyone has to come together and do the right thing, and kind of jarring considering it's a PG-13 adult movie, but yeah, basically everyone recalls their wish and foils Maxwell Lord's plan, and I guess Maxwell was redeemed in the end, and Cheetah somehow survives being electrocuted. I'm not sure if we were gonna get the Cheetah returning later because the Legion of Doom are set up, and yeah, Wonder Woman lets go of Steve Trevor and makes peace with the guy whose body she inhabited. I guess they're starting a romance to make Wonder Woman not look like a creepy rapist because this guy actually did like her. And that's supposed to make things better, but it doesn't. Yeah, Wonder Woman 1984. It sucks. It is a colossal drop off from how good the first movie was. I prefer Keisha's actress who played Cheetah. Oh yeah, what's her name? Erica Luttrell. Yeah, she did a pretty good job. Linda Carter's cameo didn't do much. Yeah, she shows up twice, and Linda Carter is set up for a sequel where I guess she's gonna meet Wonder Woman, but that would have made a better plot than the plot we got. This is why I said if the movie's POV changes, it turns into a horror movie. Yeah, it does. The extra background characters did remind me of the background characters in the Sam Raimi characters. Yeah, the acting was really hokey in this one. Wonder Woman saves a little girl, and the little girl could not act, and all the bad guys she beats up at the mall were ridiculous. Basically, we went from Batman 89 to Batman and Robin for this movie. It was that huge of a drop-off. Well, so bland. Is Wonder Woman not Care Bears a live-action movie? Wonder Woman 84 was so bad, I refused to watch it. Also, just by the description, it feels like it can't be real. Yeah, it is a real fever dream. It's a trippy movie. The Silver Age had better writing for villain origins. Yeah, they did. Feel like a cheesy Disney Channel short. That's what it kind of did. It's more family-friendly than the first movie, and unfortunately, that's what ruined it and the DCEU later on. Wonder Woman 1984, more like Wonder Woman 1980 Snore. Yeah, screw this movie. Alright, speaking of garbage, let's talk about Birds of Prey and the emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Basically, a Harley Quinn movie with the Birds of Prey as Harley's co-stars, and yep, going into F. It is bad. It's almost as bad as Joss Whedon's Justice League. This movie is total crap. This is easily the movie that went woke the most. It tried to be a female empowering movie, only to come across as really bitter, sexist, and hateful, and full of tons of cringy comedy. I do not like Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, and this movie pretty much sealed the deal because she is unlikable in this movie. It's Joker 2 before Joker 2. Yeah, it kinda was. Or Wonder Woman 1980 Bore. They got Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, and Barbara Gordon. Oh yeah, all the Birds of Prey, except for Harley Quinn, of course, are completely bastardized in this movie. Black Canary sucks. They changed her race for really no reason, and she's kind of a wishy-washy snowflake. The Huntress is this mad woman going around shooting people with a crossbow instead of the super sexy kick-ass vigilante woman. Cassandra Cain completely ruined on par with Iron Man 3's The Mandarin. Cassandra Cain, one of the coolest Batgirls ever, is turned into an annoying fat kid who jokes and screws around a lot. Basically, Cassandra Cain eats a diamond that the Black Mask is trying to steal, and Harley Quinn befriends Cassandra and tries to save her, while it's getting into a wacky chase with Black Mask and all these other villains. Oh, and Renee Montoya is also in the movie, playing a very forgettable beat cop character. Yeah, the Birds of Prey are completely bastardized. It is mostly a Harley Quinn movie, co-starring the Birds of Prey. Gail Simone allegedly liked this movie, and honestly, I think she's crazy. She has really poor taste if she thought this was a good representation of her work. Harley Quinn returns to Gotham. Apparently she broke up with Jared Leto Joker because Jared Leto Joker sucks, and she's kind of trying to find herself. She's getting into wacky, get your groove back girl boss adventures. However, she runs afoul of Black Mask, played by Obi-Wan himself, Ewan McGregor, who is easily one of the most pathetic villains in this entire universe. Black Mask is an emotionally stunted man baby who cries all the time, who is gay, who's a loser, and basically wants to kill Harley Quinn because he can't stand a woman being better than him because he's so pathetic. This is not Cassandra Cain. Yeah, Cassandra Cain, she's butchered horribly in this movie. I debate who is ruined worse, Black Mask or Cassandra Cain, and easily a lot of people agree Cassandra because she was one of the best DC characters, now one of the worst. Ewan McGregor was a terrible villain. Yeah, he is really goofy and a sign of mood whiplash in this movie. I prefer the classic 2000s Birds of Prey, thank you very much. That is more watchable than this crap. SA guy, a guy is considered family friendly. Yes, I know what you mean, but yeah, apparently it was supposed to be cute because Patty Jenkins was a bad director. I'm still going back and forth with the Batgirl movie was even real or not. Yeah, don't worry, the Batgirl movie not on this tier list. Not Cassandra Cain, yeah, she was ruined. Mary Elizabeth Winstead was the Huntress. Oh, she was the Huntress? Wow. You got Mary Elizabeth Winstead as the Huntress and you failed to make her cool. Yeah, the Birds of Prey do not even wear their costumes. They look like a bunch of crackhead hookers. They, wear homeless people clothes and garbage bags. We never see the real Black Canary. We never see Huntress don her costume. Cassandra Cain is not even Batgirl. She's an annoying fat kid who's pretty much an in-name only character. And Renee Montoya is the only character they got right. And I kind of forgot she was even in this movie. She's just another sidekick who Harley Quinn recruits. Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, annoying. I don't like her. She is not funny. And basically, she's supposed to be a feminist icon, trying to give a female empowerment message. But that does not work when Harley Quinn is the villain. Harley Quinn's animated series is better than this. Yeah, by far. Oh, Catherine Payne. Okay. Also, Sophia Donner and Wolf Lake. Ewan McGregor, just like Frank Welker and Velma, didn't deserve to be in this film. Yeah, fully agree. Ewan McGregor's Black Mask, well, for one, he barely wears the damn mask, and basically he's this crying man baby for most of it. Pissed off that these women are showing up and making his pee-pee hurt because he's a loser and basically a representation of toxic men. It would have been fine if he was actually funny, but he's not, and it's more cringe and ham-fisted. Basically, they're after a diamond that Cassandra Cain ate because Cassandra Cain's a stupid fat kid, because this progressive movie loves dissing fat people, but whatever. She ate the diamond and Harley Quinn's trying to save her. She meets the Birds of Prey and they get into this girl power montage where they fight the evil toxic men. There's a fight at the funhouse, which almost cool, but did not like, and basically a lot of stupid comedy. It's a Mad World style adventuring. A lot of cringy you go girl moments, and Black Mask anticlimactically dies when Cassandra Cain sticks a grenade in his nutsack. Yeah, that's how he dies. Cassandra Cain slips a grenade in Black Mask's pants and he falls and blows up. Really shockingly anticlimactic and a real letdown, especially for all the buildup he had. But yeah, basically, the girls get their groove back and become strong, independent women, forming the Birds of Prey. And yeah, it sucks. It sucks. It is awful. It is bad. I'm so glad this movie lost to the Sonic the Hedgehog movie because it deserved it. This is DCEU at its worst. I do not get what people see in this film. I have friends who actually liked this movie and never got it. It's just cringe. It's not funny. It's not entertaining. And the Birds of Prey are ruined in this movie. Are they a rock band or a hero team? That's right. Victor Zsasz is in this movie and he barely acts like Victor Zsasz. Harley Quinn should have gone the DCAU route. Yeah, definitely. The only thing I thought was good was the intro. Yeah, the animated intro where Harley said her dad traded her for beer. Yeah, that was funny in the Harley Quinn show. Are they a rock band? Lame rock band, like in the Batman Beyond movie. Hell, Ewan McGregor is in Jack the Giant Slayer way better than this film. Next film, The Splash, put it in F. Yeah, Journey Smollett, that's who played Black Canary. Never seen her in much, and apparently Journey Smollett's Black Canary is supposed to get a spin-off, but I'm questioning if that's ever going to happen now because the Snyderverse is dead. But yeah, Birds of Prey, more like Birds of Lame, awful. It is barely above Justice League. So, people want the last bad movie out of the way, so let's talk about Ezra the Chokeslam Miller's Flash. Which, going into F, this movie sucks. This was DC's attempt at doing the Flashpoint movie, and once again, it was outclassed by the animated movie instead because this movie badly butchered a classic story. Besides, number one, this movie failed because Ezra Miller is controversial. Nobody likes this guy. He is a psychopath. He is in huge legal trouble right now, and nobody wanted to support Ezra Miller and the terrible things he's done to people. So that was kind of strike one against this movie. Number two, this underwent a lot of reshoots, and you could tell the CGI is awful. Special mention going to when the Flash saves those CGI babies and puts one in a microwave in this very trippy Speed Force scene. Like, the CGI does not look good. And number three, the Flash's super team is not very good. He recruits basically, if you don't know, the Flash goes back in time to prevent his mother's death at the hands of the Reverse Flash. But here it doesn't make much sense because the Reverse Flash doesn't even exist in this universe. And basically he fights an evil speed monster that's destroying time. It's built up as a twist who this speed monster is. It is not the Reverse Flash or Professor Zoom. It is an original evil Speed Force character, but we'll get to that later. Basically, the Flash finds himself in an alternate timeline where the DCEU's events have changed for the worse. Basically, General Zod's invading and he's going to destroy the Earth, but Superman doesn't exist, so the Flash needs a new team, where he goes across the multiverse to make his makeshift team, just like in the Flashpoint story. He, number one, recruits himself like an alternate Barry Allen, and yeah, there are two Ezra Millers in this. I know the CGI actually looks good for copying him, but who the hell wanted to see two Ezra Millers? So yeah, we get a second Barry Allen who's a normal mortal. Then he recruits Supergirl, who I did not like in this. I do not get what people see in her. The actress is beautiful in real life, but they turned her into Superboy. Like, Supergirl does not look like a girl. She looks like a boy. She looks like Superboy. I thought they were going with an alternate Superman, honestly, when I saw the posters and trailers, but nope, that's a woman. And of course, Michael Keaton returns as Batman. Because if there's anything you wanted to see, it was Michael Keaton in his late 70s playing Batman again on the big screen. Basically, we meet Michael Keaton's Batman, and this movie is so bad that even Michael Keaton couldn't save it. He's more like the Reverse Flash. Kind of. That's what they use. And to think it was hype because Michael Keaton reprised his role as Batman. I was initially excited to see Michael Keaton back as Batman, but then when Ezra Miller's controversy came up, I did not see this in theaters at all. Michael Keaton couldn't save this movie. Such an ugly movie in my opinion. Tried too hard. It did. This is also the last ever time we see Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman and Batfleck, and they're in a cringy comedy scene before being retconned by Flashpoint. Yeah, Michael Keaton was gonna be Batman in this movie. He kind of is, but number one, I think Michael Keaton is way too old to be Batman. Like, people want him as, like, old Bruce Wayne mentoring Terry McGinnis. He's that old now. Also, evil Aquaman and evil Wonder Woman forgotten. Yeah, that was one of the best parts of the animated movie and the comic story. Wonder Woman and Aquaman are at war with each other, and that's completely removed to make the villain General Zod. Yeah, General Zod's back as the villain, and was anybody looking forward to seeing him again? He wasn't even that great a villain in Man of Steel. How does a movie with $200 million budget look so bad in 2023? Yeah, I think all that money went towards basically the trailers. Oh yeah, Nicolas Cage as Superman in this. This is the one thing people talk about this movie, the Flash jumping multiverses, and we see alternate DC shows and movies, cameos from dead celebrities. They CGI Christopher Reeve's Superman. We see Helen Slater's Supergirl. We see Dean Cain's Superman from the Black and White show. We see Cesar Romero's Joker and Adam West's Batman fighting. We see Nicolas Cage Superman from the unused movie Superman Lives. Yeah, remember Nicolas Cage was going to be Superman at one point? Would have preferred seeing that over this mess. And yeah, Michael Keaton's Batman, at least with Beetlejuice 2, kind of made up for this role in this. Made up for this role of him after this film. Yeah, he was better in Beetlejuice 2. The director of Flash is the director of It 2017 and Chapter Pooh. Oh, that explains the decline. What I learned about the Flash movie is how foot fetish fans watch this because they wanted to see the Kara of this film as she was barefoot in most scenes. Yeah, basically, Supergirl is put into Superman's position from Flashpoint. In Flashpoint, Superman never landed at the Kent farm. He's taken by the government and held prisoner to be studied. However, instead of Henry Cavill, they have Supergirl. Like, what's her name? Sasha Collies or whatever plays Supergirl, and honestly, I thought she was overrated. Everybody praised her performance in this and thought she was a great Supergirl. I completely forgot she was even in this movie and did not like how she looked in this movie. She looks fugly, man. I mean, the actor Nicolas Cage did get to play Superman in Teen Titans Go to the Movies. Yeah, that was one of the highlights of that movie. Flash is just more like Flash gone slow. Yeah, basically, it's the same plot as Flashpoint. Barry realizes that he screwed up the timeline and uses his makeshift team to help him fix the timeline. Michael Keaton, Batman, and Supergirl both try to fight General Zod, only to epic fail because Superman is an all-star, and his team pretty much sucks, and he gives his clone timeline Barry Flash powers too, so they'll have two speedsters. However, we find out in a twist that the time-traveling Reverse Flash knockoff monster was really the clone Barry. He's been stuck traveling in time all this time, trying to create a perfect timeline where they win, only to fail every time and slowly morph into a Speed Force Wraith. Kind of like Professor Zoom from the CW Flash. Like, he transformed into a mutant monster because he kept abusing his powers to try and fix the timeline, only to make it worse every time. And basically, he's the final boss that Flash has to face. Spoilers, Michael Keaton Batman dies horribly, and Supergirl epic fails, and rightfully so, because she sucks. So, Barry finally realizes that he can't change time. He has to make things like, let them play as they may. He fixes the timeline and resets the DCEU, and basically creates a new, better DC timeline, which is allegedly James Gunn's DC timeline. So he lets his mom die, he lets things play as they were, and returns everything back to normal. Until we reach our twist ending, where Barry's recruited by George Clooney Batman. Yes, that is the big teaser for next film. George Clooney's Batman is now the Batman in his new universe, and did anybody give a crap? Was anybody excited to see George Clooney's Batman return? George Clooney is the worst Batman ever, and I was not going to see this movie because George Clooney is in it. George Clooney's Batman sucks, and basically set up that he and Barry are going to form the new Justice League, which is mercifully never going to happen because this movie killed the Snyderverse. The Flash sucks. It sucks. Ezra the Chokeslam Miller is a terrible person, which is why it didn't make big moolah, and the movie itself a complete mess. Very bad effects, bad writing. It butchers the Flashpoint story, and honestly, I would rather watch the animated Flashpoint over this piece of crap. And George Clooney's Batman was the cherry atop a shit sundae. Total failure. The Flash is an F. The worst cameo of all time, George Clooney. Thank God Val Kilmer wasn't in it. Fully agree. What if with Doctor Strange Season 1 did this better? She looked like a live-action Anissa from Invincible. Flash is like more... Okay, I read that. Yeah, basically, who was excited to see George Clooney's Batman return? Batman and Robin was a god-awful movie, and I would list George Clooney as the worst Batman we ever had, next to the old guy from Titans. Those two are pretty awful, but Clooney's is pretty high up for me still. Flash, awful, awful movie, completely failed, and it is a huge sign that people are done with multiverse stories. Alright, speaking of alternate continuity, let's talk about the Snyder Cut. Snyder Cut, controversial opinion, but it's going on to B. This one, miles better than Joss Whedon's Justice League. It is much better. Zack Snyder's vision is fully here, and it is a much better version of Steppenwolf's take over the world plot. Basically, we actually see Darkseid in this movie, and Zack Snyder does a much better job setting up his cinematic universe. Basically, the fans cried that they wanted to see Zack Snyder's vision come to life, and we won. The fans won. The Snyder Cut is a huge win for fandom everywhere, and I appreciate it. That being said, this movie's alright. Yeah, it's just alright. My biggest gripe with it is long, man. It is way too long. It's like 3 movies put together. It is a long cut. This movie is nearly 5 hours long, and I did have to watch it in parts because it went on for that long. The pacing is horrible. It is really bad. It is the worst part. I thought the Justice League were done much better justice here. There's a lot more fulfilling character arcs. The characters actually grow. It's the same plot as Justice League, but done better, basically. Steppenwolf wants to get in Darkseid's good graces. He's invading the Earth. Darkseid actually shows up in this movie, and he did look pretty cool. We get a lot better CGI in this movie, and all the stupid jokes and Joss Whedon scenes are completely deleted. A lot more serious drama. The characters actually feel like the DC icons in this movie. However, I do think it's still outclassed by the animated Justice League Unlimited, mostly because it got the pacing better and had better character writing. I love long movies. Good for you, Light Jones. For me, 5 hours is pushing it. Like, Justice League goes dark horror movie. Like, Justice League don't kill the villain. What? The only good movie George Clooney is good in is From Dusk Till Dawn. Yeah, fully agree. I'm back. Hey, Monica. We're on the Snyder Cut, which is making it on B. I thought it was okay. That's it. I thought it was okay. I thought it was decent. It's a much better attempt as Joss Whedon's version, but not by much. I didn't go home loving this movie and thinking it was the greatest thing ever. I'm glad Zack Snyder got his vision out. I'm glad the fans got to see a good version of the Justice League movie, but didn't really love it. Sorry, I needed some water. Yeah, we've been going at it for a while. We're on the final 4, but Snyder Cut, I think it's alright. It's a B movie in my mind. It's not one of the good ones or even the S-tier masterpieces. For me, it's decent. It is a decent movie. It did a lot of things right. It got Zack Snyder's vision out there. It made the Justice League cool, which what everyone was hoping the first try was going to be. The Snyder Cut, it has a lot of pacing issues. That is my big problem. It's got bad pacing, it's still very bloated, and once again, Zack Snyder sets up a whole bunch of other spin-offs and sequels. Martian Manhunter cameos in this movie, and Green Lantern actually appears in this movie. We actually see Darkseid and Apocalypse preparing the invasion. The Justice League have much better chemistry. Superman actually feels like himself. Cyborg is actually an interesting character in this movie. They actually redeem Cyborg after how boring he was in the first movie. And they actually made Ezra the Chokeslam Miller slightly more tolerable. I was saddened that they never released the 3-hour cut of Iron Man 3. I wasn't, because Iron Man 3 sucks. Like Superman wears the black costume, just like in the comics. Why did you put the best DCEU movie in B? Because, James, it is long. It is long, it's got boring pacing, and some scenes I could not sit through because they dragged on for so long. I would have probably liked this as like a mini-series. That would justify the runtime a bit better. As a movie to watch in one sitting, it does drag. I actually like how in the old Justice League film it used a glimpse of the Injustice Force when Luthor said, "Shouldn't we have a league of our own?" Oh yeah, also Jared Leto returns in this movie. Yeah, Jared Leto is Jesus Joker. I always give you the reach around. And yeah, Jared Leto definitely lost points for this movie. That is another factor against it. Sorry, catching up on comments. I did see the Joker in the Snyder Cut. Yeah, he is in there, and he's Jesus Joker, which, really weird. I did not get what Snyder was going for with that. Yeah, Joker is 10% better, but he still sucks. Yeah, just because he's more tolerable doesn't mean he's good. Dark Apocalypse, I mean. I don't know if you read this, but are you going to rank the Disney villains? I might, Monica, I might. I might do that with Wolf, honestly, but we'll see if there is interest there. Like the Snyder Cut have no Green Lanterns in the team. This was because DC was trying to distance itself from the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern. Oh yeah, remember that? Ryan Reynolds was Green Lantern on an awful origin story movie, and DC was so embarrassed by it that they chose to avoid Green Lantern for years and not have him in the Justice League lineup. It is stupid, I know, but what are you gonna do? Corporate executives are dumb. There's also the fact that we got the backstory of Cyborg. As I said, Cyborg's much better in this than he was in the first attempt. Also, why Cyborg wasn't in DCEU Teen Titans and Justice League? Because the New 52 made Cyborg the first Teen Titan to graduate as a Justice League hero. Basically, Cyborg replaced Martian Manhunter. They gave them their brilliant science hero because Martian Manhunter was too OP, basically. Cyborg is a member of the Justice League from the New 52 onward, and this movie was trying to copy that. You're welcome, Canada. Ever want to review the Justice League Dark Apocalypse War? I reviewed Justice League Dark. It is now on my Patreon. I'm sorry it was on YouTube for a while, but it got blocked. My DC reviews keep getting blocked on YouTube. Not my show reviews, my DC movie reviews. I'm sorry, I wanted to do more DC movies, but those are facing copyright problems. We did review Justice League Dark. It is currently on our Patreon. They have not blocked it there because Patreon has its own server, so suck it, Warner Brothers. But if you want to watch it, it is free. You just have to be a Patreon. We have free tiers now. Justice League Dark, I did review it. Apocalypse War, I'm not sure. I did not like that movie, if you're curious. Justice League Apocalypse War, I am not a fan of. I'm certain some people wanted me to do it because I talked about the good first movie, but yeah, Apocalypse War, it's bad. Not Birds of Prey bad, thankfully, but not my thing, really. Probably not going to talk about that one. Somebody requested I do Gods and Monsters, and somebody also requested I talk about Superman. I wanted to do Superman versus the Elite, but we'll think about it. But Apocalypse War, it is not on my review hit list. Sorry, just catch on my comments. There wasn't enough Martian Manhunter. I agree. He was barely in this. They're setting him up for a spin-off, which we never got. I hope Teen Titans gets James Gunn's treatment. I don't, because I saw what he did on the Guardians of the Galaxy and Creature Commandos. Maybe it's because Deadpool stopped Ryan Reynolds in Deadpool 2. That's why there isn't a Green Lantern 2, lol. Yeah, that's right, I went back in time and shot him from making the movie. Also, his character should have been set up earlier. A lot of characters should have been set up earlier, Batkid. Martian Manhunter is actually revealed to be this military guy who we saw in Batman vs. Superman. Yeah, they did set him up like he was always there. They just didn't give him much focus. They need to learn how to write paragons again. Fully agree, Batkid. We need heroes again. So Snyder's Justice League, it's alright. I'm sorry, it's not S tier to me. I know it's miles better than the rest of the crap we got, but it's just decent. Not my thing. I think it's a B movie. And I like what you think. What do you think about Kari Wahlgren's Starfire? I actually really like her. Didn't like her at first because I'm a fan of Hynden Walsh, but she grew on me. One, they made Starfire hot, and Kari Wahlgren is basically doing her Saturn Girl persona again, so I did grow to like her in the New 52 animated movies. Alright, Final Four. Let's go. Let's talk about James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Might upset some people, but this one, going on to A. Yeah, I know, my friend Emily is going to be so pissed that I did not put it on S, but I thought it was good. It was missing that extra spark, and number two, I am getting really sick of James Gunn's style of humor. James Gunn is usually good at comedy, especially dark comedy, which this one did have a lot of good jokes and a lot of fun times, but some misses for me. So, we're doing the Suicide Squad again, and this time we're gonna pretend the first movie never happened. Which was a good sign because it made this movie a lot better. Basically, it's their second try. The Suicide Squad are going on a dangerous mission, invading this not Cuban country to steal a super weapon. And we find out the super weapon is actually Starro, the Galactic Conqueror. Yep, we finally got to see Starro on the big screen, and this movie did win me over when it killed off Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang in the first 5 minutes. The Suicide Squad is more decent than the first one. Oh, it is miles better than that. It's A. Yes, it's A. I thought it was good. I agree, James Loveland. I think it's good. It's not as, like, Shazam good to me, but I think it's pretty fun. The Suicide Squad is more decent than the first one. John Cena is actually funny. Yeah, John Cena plays Peacemaker, who actually did get his own spin-off, unlike the Martian Manhunter. It's bad that Teen Titans Go got a renewed season, while DC Superhero Girls got canceled. That's because Cartoon Network is run by idiots, including David Zaslav. So sad that they killed Slipknot in the original. Slipknot? He barely did anything, man. And also, I don't think that's Slipknot. Michael Rooker, like, appears as the fake-out protagonist. Like, Michael Rooker plays somebody recruited for the Suicide Squad. There's a clever misdirection in the opening of this movie. The first 15 minutes, we meet the Suicide Squad, who all get killed and mowed down by the Cuban government. They, like, shoot them Normandy Bay style, have this fight on the beach, Michael Rooker pusses out and runs away, and everyone is killed, including Jai Courtney's Captain Boomerang, which did win me over. Everyone dies except for Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn and the Weasel, because the Weasel is going to be on Creature Commandos. I know I'm not the only one who loved that scene where Waller got hit by the golf club when she threatened the squad's heads. Yeah, that was satisfying. Hey, Emily, you woke up just in time for the Suicide Squad. Wrong opinion. Boo, Emily. Boo that vampire. Hopefully Superman doesn't get ruined. I hope so. Where the F is Katana? I agree. Katana was one of the best characters. Like, they have Polka Dot Man. Yeah. Alright, I'm back. What did I miss? Hey, Shadowlink, we're on James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. Currently on A. Next to Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Hey, Emily, nice of you to join us. Emily was here earlier, but she had to dip out. She fell asleep. Peacemaker survived too, but that was for his series. Yeah, Peacemaker is one of the new squad mates. They pretty much replace Will Smith and all the OG squad mates completely. Margot Robbie is the only character from the past who's still prominent in this movie because Harley Quinn is marketable to DC. Basically, a real squad is sent in to invade the country, where we meet Idris Elba as Bloodsport, aka Discount Deadshot. I like Idris Elba, and he's definitely funny in this. Much funnier than Will Smith, but basically he's playing Deadshot. It's just knockoff Deadshot. We meet Sylvester Stallone's King Shark, who is just Groot in this movie. We meet Girl Ratcatcher, and we meet Mr. Polka Dot, the Polka Dot Man, because he's the funny comic relief character. And I believe Doctor Who is in this movie too as the mad scientist. I think he's like supposed to be Simon, but I could be wrong. Yeah, Peter Capaldi, Doctor Who, is in this as a secondary villain. And, of course, they rescue Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie. Harley Quinn falls in love with this evil dictator, but apparently draws the line at child murder and kills him, where she's sentenced to be executed and the guy's brother becomes the villain. Basically, they're trying to make Starro Tech a weapon via a reference to Young Justice Season 1. Starro is being held prisoner and tortured in this not Cuban facility, and the squad basically have to retrieve the super weapon, getting into wacky hijinks along the way. James Gunn's comedy is both good and bad in this movie. Well, for one thing, it's repeating the same mistake as the first Suicide Squad. It's trying to turn the squad into the Guardians of the Galaxy. The Suicide Squad, a bunch of villains sent on suicidal missions, being forced to work for the government to gain some time off of prison, are funny. They're funny anti-heroes. They're anti-villains. They're basically goofballs who do dark and effed up things, but it's supposed to be charming. Rick Flag is still a major character in this movie, and spoilers, Rick Flag dies. We find out Peacemaker is a double agent. He was being used by Amanda Waller to fulfill a much more darker, dirty job, and Rick Flag goes against it, where Rick Flag dies. Peacemaker. What a joke. Yeah, he gets, like, fatality'd in the heart, and I guess this triggers Peacemaker's redemption arc, which will be explored in his show, but not here. Yeah, Amanda Waller is crazy, and they treat her such. Oh, okay, he was the Thinker. Peter Capaldi was the Thinker. Much more entertaining here than on the CW. What made this so special is the simple fact that it shined light on rather overlooked DC characters like Bloodsport and Peacemaker, and we finally got Starro the Conqueror on film. That was pretty cool. The good Suicide Squad movie. Yep, finally talking positive. One important question, who's the Weasel? The Weasel is one of the creature commandos. He's played by Sean Gunn, James Gunn's brother. He had 2 minutes of screen time, and he's just a joke character. He basically runs off to be in a spin-off. Sorry, just reading some comments. So sad they made King Shark a big comic relief character, but have him more dumb instead of the Assault on Arkham King Shark. Yeah, King Shark is pretty much just Groot. He, talks very slow. He's a slow-witted fool. He speaks in generic dialogue. I will say the CGI looked pretty decent on him. A bit fake-looking whenever he killed people, but yeah, the Suicide Squad are a bit funnier. Liked Idris Elba. Not a huge fan of Girl Ratcatcher. I found her annoying. She's basically this stuck-up Zoomer who sleeps all the time. She was kind of boring. She's supposed to be the heart of the team, but she's the most unlikable, too. What made this so special is the simple fact that read that. Yeah, Amanda Waller is crazy, and she gets beat up in this movie. Very satisfying. James did Starro just like with Slither and the Butterflies and Peacemaker all over again. Starro actually looked pretty cool. If you don't know, Starro of course busts out. He kills Peter Capaldi's Doctor Who, and he starts spreading his invasion, taking over people, planting the Starro spawn on people's faces, and forming his army to take over the world. Of course. And the Suicide Squad basically have to save the day because they're the only ones who can stop Starro, and the government doesn't want to phone the Justice League. So yeah, kick-ass climax where they fight alien invaders. Mr. Polka Dot, that's your mom! And he imagines his abusive mom and shoots polka dots at her. Peacemaker Season 1, I think, should be on B. Oh, James, you and Emily have a lot to discuss. Never thought they would make the Ratcatcher an interesting and good character, but somehow James Gunn pulled it off. I did like Mr. Polka Dot, the Polka Dot Man, a bit more. He's played by that guy who played the guy Two-Face almost shoots in The Dark Knight, and he was also one of Jerome's cult members in Gotham. This guy, exactly like Michael Bell, popped up in DC media from time to time, and it was pretty good seeing him as Mr. Polka Dot. He really loves being in DC. Peacemaker, Millennials. Yeah, that was her. The original Ratcatcher is Taika Waititi, the director of Thor Ragnarok and Suckin' Blunder. Oh, that was Taika. Weird. Yeah, amongst other things, yeah. Glad to see The Flash and Wonder Woman 1984 and F, by the way. Yeah, if you missed it, Shazam's still the only S tier movie on here. Yeah, Wonder Woman 84 F, Flash F, Birds of Prey F. How the heck was she stuck up? She was literally one of the people advocating to work together and help people near the end of the movie when the Starro stuff started happening. Well, Emily, she was showing disrespect towards the elders even though they were the pro-veteran leaders, acting like she knew better. She was also Gwen Stacy in the Snyderverse. No, that was a different girl. She's even saved King Shark's life after he tried to eat her and was her first friend. Okay, so, sorry to disappoint people, but Margot Robbie still did not win me over as Harley Quinn. I found her annoying. She's still obnoxious, unfunny. She actually dressed like her main character this time, so there's that. There's the goofy-ass scene where she's killing people like Quentin Tarantino style, and flowers and sparkles are coming out instead of blood, which honestly didn't make me laugh. I thought it was really weird. James Gunn's humor has been kind of mixed for me. Sometimes it's real funny, and some of the jokes are real misses, namely the fact that this is just the Guardians of the Galaxy all over again, as ragtag bunch of misfits who are unlikable jerks turned into funny anti-heroic jerks by the end. The goofy-ass final kaiju battle against Starro, and Ratcatcher using her lame-ass power to talk to rats to save the day, because she summons all the rats from this third world country to eat Starro. Yeah, that is how Starro dies. He's eaten by an armada of rats, and Bloodsport cries and cringes because he's deadly afraid of rats, which is why he didn't get along with Ratcatcher. King Shark makes friends, then his friends try to eat him. Mr. Polka Dot dies, and that was the death that hurt me the most because I actually liked him. I'm a superhero. Squash, he gets killed by Starro. The Suicide Squad save the Earth, and I think James Gunn's wife actually takes over as the Suicide Squad director. Like, his wife, knocked out Amanda Waller and basically guided the squad. They save the day. Starro is defeated. They foiled the invasion. They stopped the evil plan and dethroned the evil, not Cuban government. And the squad are heroes, hoping to look forward to their next adventure. And yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a stupid fun movie. I do not like it as much as Shazam. It does not reach that quality for me, but I think it's just mindless, dumb fun to enjoy, and James Gunn's weaknesses and strengths are both in this movie. I liked it so much better than the first one, that's for sure, and Peacemaker dies, but will come back somehow in his TV show. It's not explained very well how he came back, but yeah, he's still alive, and he's being set up for his TV show. She's based on the modern fetish Harley Quinn comics. That explains why I didn't like her. Yeah, Julian Day, Calendar Man, and Batman Long Halloween. That was him too. Oh, he was in Ant-Man. I did not know that. Late Night with the Devil, he was also in that. They should combine CGI with practical effects. It would look better. Yeah, one of the grosser scenes why I don't like this movie is where they're, swimming in Starro's eye, and the CGI looks so fake. Like, the rats are going in there and swimming, and Harley Quinn is saved. It looked really weird. Yeah, just because Ratcatcher saved King Shark did not make me like her. I thought King Shark belongs with Killer Frost, Emily. What I heard about this film is that the scenes of Harley Quinn used her toes to unlock her shackles, that was Margot's actual feet and toes. She even mentioned that she can braid hair with her toes. Weird talent. Margot is perfect in literally everything she's cast in. Stop being a bully. She was great in The Wolf of Wall Street, Emily, because she had a full frontal nude scene. So I'll agree with you there. But she was bad as Harley Quinn, and she's awful as Barbie. Yeah, I said it. Barbie's overrated, Emily. Accept the truth. She's based on Suicide Squad. Isaaca is cool, like Deadshot meets Peacemaker. I have not seen the anime Suicide Squad. I kind of lost touch with DC after all these bad movies. Ratcatcher 2 is the daughter of Ratcatcher 1. Yeah, I know that. They say that in the movie. Well, I say we should end on a good note, so how about we save Peacemaker for last and move on to Shazam 2? Yeah, we might save that one for last. I know everybody wants it. Suicide Squad, it's good. It is a good movie. It's dumb fun. It's not perfect. I know Emily's upset that it doesn't make S, but what can I say? I like what I like, and I will put it on A because it is definitely one of the better entries in this terrible universe. I agree. Thanks, James. Barbie sucks. Boo this man. Boo yourself, Emily. Yeah, James gets it. James has the right mind, Emily. Alright, so let's move on with Shazam 2. Going down to D. Just like Wonder Woman 1984, talk about a quality drop. Shazam 2 is soulless. It is forgettable. It is boring and completely flushes that cool setup from last movie. Yeah, spoilers, the malicious Mr. Mind and Dr. Savannah team up is put on hold so Shazam can fight kooky old witch ladies. Yeah, apparently the villains are Lucy Liu and blanking out on her name. Basically, two old ladies who wield magic. They're kind of these hocus pocus witches. Basically, try to fight Shazam, and Shazam has underwent a lot of character assassination. He's back to being an immature brat in this movie and has to learn the same lesson he learned in movie 1. This movie, it's a cash grab. It is a lazy cash grab trying to milk the fan base after how great the first movie was, and it's basically a generic adventure, a lot more stupid comedy back in full force. Zachary Levi's a lot more annoying in this movie. I liked him in the first one because, well, he was a kid trying to be a cool adult. Here, he's kind of more of a man-child. The Shazam family is back, there's family drama, and basically the two witch sisters are supposed to be another foil to them. It rehashes a lot of the first movie, basically theme, character arcs, and kind of events too. It is boring. The animated movies are good. Well, except for Batman the Killing Joke and Batman and Harley Quinn. Those are definitely F tier if we rank those. Rachel Zegler as Anthea is going to be in the terrible Snow White. Yeah, that's right. Rachel Zegler was in this movie as some character you'll forget in a week. They're making a second Batman Ninja movie, I think. Yeah, that would be cool. Batman Ninja, I thought was actually pretty funny. Love Catwoman in Batman Ninja. Barbie is the best. Best at being the worst. Ooh, got ya, Em. I don't really care about Barbie. Me too, we're never gonna review it here on this channel. Sorry, Emily, no Barbie Halloween movies are gonna be reviewed here. Jennifer Tilly and Christina V would be fun as Harley Quinn. Yeah, Jennifer Tilly's a good actress. I don't think she has the chops to be Harley Quinn, though, especially now, because she's a lot older, and two, because her voice is well known for being kind of slower and low-pitched. Man, what happened? Shazam was awesome and fun. This was just bad. A lot of forgettable stuff, and the villains suck. Yeah, the villains are basically two kooky old ladies, and they're a lot more funnier. Well, Lucy Liu's the serial sister, while one of them is kind of a ditzy Genki girl, kind of a hocus pocus witch. They're the hocus pocus witches, but without any of the charm, the charisma, or the fun. And it's just boring. Shazam 2 is boring. It rehashes everything. It is a colossal letdown. There's so many people told me to give Shazam sequel a chance. A lot of people told me to give it a chance too. It is basically generic, safe, sanitized entertainment. It removed the sharp edge of the first movie. It's more lighthearted, but I feel like it's another Batman and Robin type of movie. It won't offend you or piss you off, but it's just lame. After how good the first movie is, they took out their edge, and it's not entertaining. Apply cold water to burn. Yeah, take that, Emily. Helen Mirren. Okay, thank you. Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu are the evil witches, and they're amazingly not good in this movie. There would be a better Snow White if the story took place in Spain and Germany, but given the personality, it would not help much. Yeah, Shazam 2, Fury of the Gods, has barely any connection to the first movie. It is kind of a filler story and not a very fun one. This movie's just dull, which is why it goes into D. It's not as bad as the garbage we have in F, but very lame, letdown, do not recommend. If you watch it, fine, you won't be offended, but you're in for a real nothing burger. It's basically Lost the Lightning and it's Storm Cloud. Alright, I'm gonna use the restroom one last time and then we'll wrap up with the final two. BRB, we'll do with Aquaman 2 next. Alright, I'm back. Let's do it. Aquaman 2, The Lost Kingdom. AKA the final wet fart of the DCE universe. This is officially the last project they released. No, Creature Commandos does not count, and they never released Batgirl. And you're not done with the bad sequels yet. Aquaman 2 is next again. It's another downgrade from the first. Fully agree. This movie, going into F, yeah, it's slightly better than Batman vs. Superman, but hey, so are the rest of these. This one, bad. It is a letdown. It lost all the magic of the first movie. It is basically like Shazam, Fury of the Gods, another cash grab movie, and a huge step down from how good the first one is. Basically, they try to rip off Thor Ragnarok. Aquaman and his brother Ocean Master team up to go on a misadventure where they deal with an evil cosmic sea ghost, or like some kind of ocean monster, I barely remember, and Black Manta's back, and surprisingly not the main villain. It's this weird, like, underwater sea king. He's like a cosmic ghost who wants to destroy Atlantis, yada yada, take over the world, and basically it's about the two brothers getting into wacky misadventures and Ocean Master's redemption arc, basically. It's boring. It is boring. A complete pathetic attempt at trying to catch up to the MCU again. It is basically sludge, content for content's sake, no soul, no love, a very barely attempt at a good adventure. I think Wilson actually did a lot better in this movie as Ocean Master, but he's basically just Loki. They're Thor and Loki, but for the DCEU. Make a new row for E. I would, but I do think this one's bad. Amber Turd was actually censored out of this movie. She has a big role in the movie, but I find it hilarious that they started censoring Amber out of the trailers, giving her a minimal role. Sadly, she is here, and she does have a pivotal part. And ironic for a movie that's supposed to be about family, but yeah. Amber Turd, thankfully not a major role in this movie, but still an unholy presence. Basically, it's Aquaman and his bro Ocean Master going on bro misadventures and combating Black Manta and the Sea King, and honestly, I kind of forgot most of it. It is just a dud. It is a lame duck. It's a wet fart. The DCEU did not end with a bang, but with a whimper. I honestly don't think it's very good. It lost all the magic of the first movie and gave you a pathetic attempt at trying to capture the MCU's style humor. Why were the DC sequels so bad? I think it was because at this point they stopped caring. The Flash movie was going to reset everything and erase the Snyderverse, and basically DC stopped caring because they were getting hyped for James Gunn's DC universe replacing this crappy universe. And yeah, they barely tried. It's basically a lame duck. It was a movie they were halfway through before Zack Snyder was fired, and they just released it because they got most of it done and were hoping to make any profit off of it. Weird they made Zeus old. Didn't like the show, but it's not for me. Oh yeah, you're talking about Zeus from Shazam. Feels like diet version of Dead Man's Float. Yeah, that was the villain. It's weird due to him being younger than Poseidon and Hades. Yeah, some kind of sea entity being. I don't blame you for forgetting about him. He was barely in it and gets killed easily in just a few minutes. That's right. I remember there being a lame climax in this too. Sorry to tell you this, but I have to go. I'm very underwhelmed. See ya, Monica. Take care. We're on the final one anyway. My sister is talking about Record of Ragnarok. Like it's a shame the Fisherman was an Aquaman too, since he is an Aquaman villain. Also, John Rhys Davies is a crab in this first film. Crab people. Crab people. Now for the first and only TV series from Season 1, Peacemaker. So yeah, anyways, a fart in the wind, so it belongs in F. But let's end things on a positive note with Peacemaker, the only DC show that actually got made. Peacemaker starring John Cena, going up in S tier. Yeah, don't worry, Emily, I agree. This one, easily the best thing this universe produced because there was actual love and effort. A lot of sex and nudity, which I totally approve of, and kick-ass violence and dark comedy. John Cena as Peacemaker became an icon thanks to this show. Basically, Peacemaker is revived by the government and trying to carry on his duties as a kick-ass superhero. However, he has some family drama and personal business going on after what Rick Flag called him out on being a failure hero, kind of shook him up. He befriends Vigilante, he deals with his abusive father, his dad becomes the White Dragon, the leader of the Ku Klux Klan, and get into a lot of wacky mishaps. There's threesomes, a lot of titties, a lot of nudity. John Cena's in his underwear a lot, so don't worry, fan service for the women too. And yeah, it's actually a pretty good show. Won't lie, it's pretty fun. Robert Patrick plays the villain, and kind of surprised he still got it. He still got his villain menace after all these years later. The White Dragon actually became a kick-ass villain thanks to this. Once again, James Gunn shines a spotlight on a ton of obscure DC stuff. Vigilante, much better on this show than he was on the Arrowverse. Peacemaker, despite being a limited series, was great. Fully agree. Season 2 is being made. There is going to be a Season 2. Apparently DC is just handling things behind the scenes because James Gunn is taking over. Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad are now the only things canon to his universe. It's up in the air if Blue Beetle will be too, but I doubt that. Peacemaker is cool that I want him to fight US Agent in Marvel and Soldier Boy in Death Battle. Well, Peacemaker I think is going to be in Injustice 3. He is in Mortal Kombat 1, so yeah, Peacemaker definitely catched on with people, and John Cena did show he can act. He's funny, he's likable, he's actually sympathetic at times. He made Peacemaker an icon thanks to this series. The Choke Slammer and Jason Momoa make cameos. All the DC icons make cameos. There's a funny joke where the Justice League show up late at the end and Peacemaker makes fun of them, which is the perfect metaphor for how god-awful the Snyderverse is. Yeah, Peacemaker was in MK1, played by John Cena! Also, Eagly was his animal. Eagly, that was his name, yeah. The CGI eagle. I'm sorry, Emily, but I do think the CGI eagle looks really weird and off-putting. Some of the special effects do not look good, and the eagle dancing is easily one of the worst. But yeah, Peacemaker, really kick-ass show. Basically, Peacemaker has to confront his dad. He's struggling with his morals, getting into wacky, stupid misadventures, having a bro time with Vigilante, who becomes his partner in crime and best friend, eventually stands up to his abusive father and helps defeat the Ku Klux Klan, which, yeah, bashing racists is easily a win. So yeah, Peacemaker, one of the best shows I've seen from DC for a while, especially on the heels of the Arrowverse being destroyed. So yeah, good show. Definitely one of the greatest things the Snyderverse ever had, and ironically, it had Zack Snyder not involved in it. The dance intro, it's epic. I love it. I can see why. It is pretty funny. Also, I hate Aquaman and Deep since they flirt with a fish. Ew. The dancing intro, it's the best of all time. Yeah, I've seen people copy that, the dance intro where he and all the cast are doing a musical kind of intro. It is funny. It became a meme, I know that. So, yeah, Peacemaker, total S tier. It brought peace to the Snyderverse, and I am looking forward to Season 2. So as you can tell, that pretty much completes our tier list. We did all the Snyderverse entries. No, Creature Commandos does not count, even though Weasel's in both of them. And they never released the terrible Batgirl movie. So yep, that's where it ends. Peacemaker, S tier. So I'll go over these one more time for any late birds. F tier, the worst, Joss Whedon's Justice League, awful. A Frankenstein's monster of a movie, terrible. Terrible from beginning of end. The worst movie debut of the Justice League. Avengers did it so much better. Birds of Prey and the Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, garbage. Garbage, cringe, unfunny comedy, sexist, cringe girl boss moments, and a complete disgrace to the Birds of Prey heroes. I hope James Gunn does them better. The Flash, starring Ezra the Chokeslam Miller, terrible. The multiverse is pretty much dead, and this movie helped kill it. Not even Michael Keaton could save this movie. Bye, Kat. Bye, Akira. Farewell, Snyderverse. With a few good exceptions, you will not be missed. Totally agreed. The Crash. Just like a man, I'm very curious to see how bad was Batgirl. Batgirl, okay. Wonder Woman 1984, god-awful, boring, slow, and it made Wonder Woman a rapist and massacred my girl Cheetah. Total F. Suicide Squad. Terrible Guardians of the Galaxy wannabe. I do not want to see the Air cut because what we got showed that he couldn't even make this good. Batman vs. Superman. Whether it's the Ultimate Edition or the theatrical version, it doesn't matter. They both suck. They ruined Batman and Superman and gave us one of the worst crossovers of all time. Stick with DCEU's World's Finest. Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom. Lame. This lame movie. It is boring. It is generic. It is complete forgettable trash. Everything about it is just passe. It's not interesting. It's not good. And ultimately, it is the ending of the Snyderverse, not with a bang, but with a whimper. F. D. Man of Steel and Shazam Fury of the Gods. Disappointing. They were huge letdowns. They had a spark of hope there, but Shazam 2 lost a lot of the magic of the first movie, and Man of Steel was not a good start to this universe. I still think it's one of Superman's worst movies, and I would actually recommend watching Superman vs. the Elite if you want a good Superman movie about his morals. C tier, Blue Beetle and Black Adam. They're below average. They're okay. They're passable. I can see people liking them, but I really felt nothing for them. No love, but not enough to hate them. They are pretty much easily skippable. We'll see if Blue Beetle's a part of James Gunn's DC universe, but I press X to doubt. B. I know, controversial, the Snyder Cut. This movie's just too long. That is my big problem. It's long, it's bloated, it's got bad pacing, but it is miles better than Joss Whedon's train wreck, so I will give it that. It is okay, it is still an enjoyable Justice League movie, and I'm glad Zack Snyder got his vision done. Well, hey, Batgirl, Bad Girl, both the same. Knock, knock, who's there? Batgirl, past tense. I love Joker. The only part I like from Batman vs. Superman is when Lex Luthor compared Bruce and Clark in terms of physical frame. Ooh, this is not someone you'd want to fight with. Yeah, we're so stupid. A tier, the awesome movies. Aquaman, awesome. Made Aquaman cool again. It's definitely got some scratches, namely a huge turd named Amber, but I think this movie is dumb fun. I still watch it. I think it's definitely fun. It finally made Aquaman badass in the public eye, so it wins points for that. Wonder Woman, finally the first good Snyderverse movie. Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman rocked. It's fun. It's basically an extended version of her animated movie, but I think it captured the magic. Not perfect, but definitely a good DC movie. And James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. I'm sorry, Emily, but it has some of that James Gunn humor I'm still mixed on. Some good jokes, some bad jokes, but overall, we finally got a good live-action Suicide Squad. It is definitely a fun movie, a wild time. I would recommend watching it for some good dark comedy, but I will say it is not the S tier. Definitely a good shot. Then, top of the line, the S tier, Peacemaker, kick-ass show, really love it, hot chicks, John Cena being badass, Robert Patrick being a kick-ass villain, and the Ku Klux Klan get beat up. What's not to love? Batman and Superman are not the Punisher, yep. To this very day, I will never agree with you that Man of Steel was a bad movie. It was easily the greatest Superman of all time. Boo on you, Light Jones. Superman versus the Elite for life. That is my Superman movie. And number one of the Snyderverse, we actually got a good S-tier movie, Shazam. Love Shazam. It is a good movie. Surprisingly a good family picture. Shazam kicks ass. It is funny. It is entertaining and surprisingly deep. I felt more for Billy Batson's journey than Man of Steel's philosophical I am Jesus Superman. And yeah, this is easily the best of the Snyderverse. This is the one movie that you absolutely must see if you want to explore the Snyderverse. This is easily the best thing they've ever made, and it made Shazam a kick-ass household name. Highly recommend it. Shazam is lightning in a bottle. And that completes my tier list. Take one last picture. We did talk about all of it. No, Creature Commandos does not count, and Batgirl never got released. So, thank you for joining us. I'm very glad you dealt with me this whole time. Glad you enjoyed my list, and hope to see what we do in the next one on. You feel free to tell me what you'd like to see a tier list on. Might do the Disney villains, as someone said. Might do a horror adjacent related one. And I'm hoping to do Elm Street with Emily one day in the future, but we'll see. So, I'll see you guys later. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, or just tune in for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I wish you all a super day.